Is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Andrew Cooper. What's up, boys?
Good morning.
You know, I knew you were gonna sing today, JL.
Did you? It was a sing-song day.
It was a sing-song day. I could see it coming, man. And I have to say, you nailed it.
Oh my god! Now I want to sing even more.
You silly, you big silly.
Man,
How you doing,
you guys,
Sam?
you guys done flirting? Can I jump in now?
Now you can jump in.
You got your
Now you can jump in, big boy.
early morning flirts out of the way. I mean, Coop took all the good lines, so I'll just say good morning back to you,
Say
JL.
something.
It's
Say
wonderful
something.
being here on this Tuesday morning. Week 14
Feeling good?
officially done. We're in week 15, and I'm feeling good because I just checked. I wasn't positive. I was too nervous to check last night.
Eugene?
Survived. I'm through.
My
baby.
man.
Top
Made it.
4. I'm getting,
Also,
You
I'm
did
getting
it.
nervous.
I'll also give you credit, Simon. Usually on Tuesday, once it's Tuesday, you just start saying it's Wednesday for pretty much the rest of the week. So you remembered it's Tuesday. That's pretty good, huh?
I watched a video yesterday that was like, if you ever need to make small talk with someone at work or in a setting, people love to know what day of the week it is. They were like, just tell them the day of the week, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, it is Tuesday." Or and they're like, and if you're running out of things to talk about, let them know what tomorrow is. Like, oh, tomorrow's Wednesday,
Hump
and
day.
they're gonna be like, "Hump day." They're like, people always have something to say about the day of the week. If it's Wednesday, Thursday's so close to Friday, they're excited. If it's Thursday, you have no idea how big of a hit it's going to be to tell them that tomorrow's Friday.
So I think I've mentioned on the show Thursday's my favorite day. What's your guys' favorite day?
Saturday.
I like Friday. I like Friday best. The thing is, though, it's like Saturday is the day, but I like JL. I like the anticipation of what's to come.
You know, I also kind of like Wednesday. I know that's, but I feel like Wednesday is really settled into the week. Know what I mean? Like Wednesday is you're kind of like, you've already gotten into the rhythm of the things that you know you need to accomplish before that weekend. You're usually like the ball's rolling. It's not about initiating anymore. It's just about executing. And you got the rest of the week ahead of you, a couple days behind you. I'm a fan of
Productive
Wednesday.
day.
There's still so much
Wednesday-
time to get
Wednesday
everything done that you need to get done.
Sucks, dude.
You're at the
You know what I
top
mean?
of the hump.
Wednesday sucks.
And
You're
it's
the top of the
pre-Thursday.
world, man.
The next day is Thursday.
The
Which
next
is the
day
best day.
Thursday. See, I told you guys, hot tip. Just remember, tell people about the days of the week. They love it. So this
Always a crowd
conversation
pleaser.
started Tuesday. No football today, but we're getting ready for the playoffs over there. We got some people in the chat ready for this morning. Tommy said Pat's going to win. The game was kind of crappy. Would they look better if they started Bailey Zappi?
I
Probably
doubt
not.
it.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Nice rhyme though.
Yeah.
Tommy also answering Sunday, baby. And then said this week, 3 games on Saturday. So maybe Saturday is my favorite this week. Yeah, we get some good football this Saturday.
Saturday.
Maria in the
Sunday's
chat.
too much football.
It's the 1:00 slate on Sunday can get overwhelming. We've talked about this before. We're like, I feel like my attention's being pulled so many different directions at once that I don't fully enjoy a single game at 1:00.
Yeah, it's a lot of football.
It's a lot of football. Maria in here saying good morning. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning.
And she said, Coop, I like that you dressed up for my school spirit day. I'm going to put on my flannel and plaid too.
Hey.
What was the theme today, Coop?
No, it was Spirit Day. I'm surprised that you guys didn't dress up.
I am dressed up.
Where's your
So
flannel?
mine. Well, mine also fits the theme. The theme wasn't flannel. The theme was a theme that we all fit, Coop, that you obviously know since you wore your flannel.
That's right. Well, now here's the thing with the flannel is that we were taking down the Christmas stuff, and my wife handed me a Tupperware thing, and I was like, "What's this?" And she was like, "It's all your winter clothes." And I was like, "Winter clothes?" And I opened it up, and boom, there were all my weather-appropriate shirts for the past month and a half that I should have been wearing. So
You forgot about them.
yeah, I did. It was kind of like Christmas morning. It was like, a whole new. I was like trying them on. I was like, look at this, and she was like, yeah, that's a shirt that you picked
You're like,
out.
should I buy this? She's like, no, you already own
You
it.
already own that. We did a
It's yours,
little
buddy.
fashion show. I was like, oh, this is great. She's like, yes. Yep.
What I love is at a certain point, like 25% of your wardrobe disappeared, and you just now noticed upon it being returned.
Dude, like
you had no idea that an entire container of your clothing disappeared from your closet.
dude, no clue. Look at flannels, sweatshirts, Henleys.
Oh, it's all right there, huh?
It's literally right here. Yeah. So we'll mix those in. Look, here's a red one.
New coop, new season, new coop. We got a whole new wardrobe over here.
Yeah, dude. Well, brand new, man. I went shopping at my own house. picked out a lot of nice stuff. So yeah.
Spooky season and you're saying morning. What's up, Spooky? Welcome in. Glad to have you here. And Albert saying good morning as well. What's up, Albert?
Morning, Albert, my friend.
Spooky.
Spooky also letting us know I had 2 guys in my lineup that were out, and I still won the week.
Let's
11-3, gang, on my first round bye in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yo, who came in yesterday? Who came in yesterday and said, I need Marquise Brown to outscore Kyler Murray plus 6 points?
It was the other way around. It was Kyler Murray. They were up by 6 going against Marquise Brown with Kyler Murray. And I think it might have been Spooky because Marquise Brown didn't do too much yesterday.
So did it still go okay? Because when Kyler went down, that's all I could think about was that question.
Me too. No. I immediately thought of that as well. I think it might have been Spooky in there who was trying to get that first round bye. Or they were
going to Spooky if it was you.
They were going to knock the champ out of the playoffs is what the situation was, right? They already had their playoff locked up, but if they won, they were going to knock out the champ.
Oh, dang.
So feels good when you do that.
Marquise Brown had 4 for 34. So in full PPR, 7.4. But Kyler Murray,
so he didn't.
He ran for 3 yards.
Something.
Yeah,
he scored like 2 points.
He scored like 2. Yeah,
that's enough because they were up by 6.
It might have been Illmind Jedi.
Yeah, I bet it was Illmind, and they were up by 6. So if Kyler Murray scored more than 1.4 points,
Spooky said it wasn't me.
All
right, my bad, Spooky.
All good, JL.
I had one league where I was up by a couple points, and I only had Kyler Murray left to play. And then when he went down, I was like, man, maybe I should have taken him out just in case he got that negative few points and knocked me out.
Oh yeah, close one there,
guys. It is that time of morning. You are responsible for bringing your breakfast, but we brought everything else that you're going to need bright and early. It is BYOB. Bring your own breakfast. We got the news stories. You guys bring your bagel or your muffin or your breakfast pizza, whatever it is that you like to eat this morning. John Luke, you have any breakfast this morning?
I had a delicious everything bagel with jalapeno cream cheese. Top tier. It was good. It really hit the spot.
Oh, I love jalapeno cream cheese, but it does not love me.
No, it does not. Yeah, lactose intolerant boy.
Cream cheese is like.
Was it a jalapeno bagel or jalapeno cream cheese?
Everything bagel, jalapeno cream cheese.
So jalapeno bagel falls within that purview, right?
It was an everything bagel.
Well, but I mean, right. That's what I'm saying. Jalapeno falls within everything.
Oh my God. Get out of here, Mr. Semantics. I don't know why I keep calling you Mr. something.
It's because I look so official today.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's my suit jacket that I've got on.
Very fancy.
Guys, go ahead, Joe.
I think the biggest news we got to hit on initially is that Kyler Murray probably has a torn ACL.
Yeah, dude, that game last night, man, it was like, talk about two teams that already aren't that good. One team comes out, immediately loses their quarterback. The other team comes out, loses their running back, who's responsible for 30% of their yards this year. And then they lose their best wide receiver left because they already lost their best wide receiver. So that was the kind of game we were looking at last night.
Everybody was hurt.
Crappy.
Jack Jones also got hurt for the Patriots on that side. Like he was making some plays before he got hurt as well.
Yeah,
he was doing all right over there against DeAndre Hopkins. I've had a couple of big pass breakups before he went out as well.
DeAndre Hopkins is so good, dude. It's ridiculous. Where he was being pushed out of bounds in the back of the end zone, and he's like yawning, reaches up with one hand, and grabs
one hand grabs it,
and he's just like, nah,
in.
I could sense I was out of bounds. Just
he knew he was already out of bounds.
Yeah, he's just like, dude, he's too good, man. He's too good.
Coop, I thought the same thing when I watched that play. I was like I know it's not a touchdown, but give him a trophy or something. Like someone just like give him like best wide receiver. Just hand him that trophy after that catch because that was absurd.
But that's the thing about him is that we've already talked about this story, but like back when he was on the Texans, the wide receiver coach for the Cardinals, who was coaching Larry Fitzgerald at the time, came up to him and was like, "You're the best wide receiver in the league," and he just goes, "I know." Like, he's too cool for all of it, dude. For all of it. You try and give him the trophy and he's like, okay, thank you.
Thank you. I already knew that.
Yeah, fine.
One of my top 3 sports moments ever in person, maybe number 1, was DeAndre Hopkins catching that 4th and 16 pass at the Chick-fil-A Bowl, Clemson LSU, in the big comeback at the last second. So that man has got a special place in my like sports loving heart because I just about jumped through the ceiling of that game. D-Hop, good. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball. It doesn't matter if it's Colt McCoy, if it's Kyler Murray. He's a monster. But Kyler Murray, Joe, you mentioned it's suspected that he tore his ACL. We'll probably get confirmation today after an MRI, but whenever they say suspected, very rarely does the news come out the next day that makes it better. Right? Like if they're able to diagnose it pre and put information out. This sucks for the Cardinals. Absolutely sucks for the Cardinals. What does this do for the pass catching weapons on that team for you? D-Hop, fine, right? Maybe lowers his ceiling a little bit, but he's going to be fine with Colt McCoy.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He's a great wide receiver. They're going to still feed him, but this sucks. I mean, this absolutely limits his upside. It probably impacts Marquise Brown a little more. Those ancillary options on that team, Rondale Moore. But yeah, I mean, this is very disappointing. I'm curious to see how Kyler just got a big deal in the offseason. I'm curious to see how this reflects on Cliff Kingsbury, who's already feeling a little heat.
Yeah, big deal is a bit of an understatement, and they actually threw it up on the screen last night. Kyler Murray signed through 2027. But as part of that, they also extended Cliff Kingsbury and the GM Keim through 2026. So all them dudes are hanging out. You know what I mean? Like they're probably outs in those contracts, but when you give a guy a contract through 2027, usually doesn't have an out in 2023, right? There's usually at least a few guaranteed years in there. So yikes.
Yeah, it sucks for Kyler Murray. He was, I feel like he's been a quarterback that's been under a lot of like pressure this season, external, internal. Of course, some of the things he's said and done have brought that on, but a lot of it, probably unjustified pressure from the media for the kind of quarterback that he is. I was hoping to see him turn it around, have a late season surge here, but I guess we got to wait till next year. And with these kinds of injuries, sometimes ACL tears, they'll say, oh, they'll be back in a couple months. And then depending on the severity of it, we've seen players where they miss games the following season as well. Are you guys expecting him to be ready to go for the beginning of 2023 if this is an ACL tear? Or are we just waiting to hear from the doctors?
Waiting to hear from the doctors, but it should be. I mean, usually I think it takes around like 10 months or so.
Yeah, I usually keep an eye on what the guys like Edwin Porras and those guys on Twitter say, and especially the timeline. So if they go in and say their successful surgery right away, usually that means that things are pretty clean and good to go. Sometimes they say they need to wait. Then it gets a little dicey. And if they mention other parts of the knee, like if it's just ACL, great. If it's ACL, MCL, LCL, like combinations of things, that's when you start getting a little worried that there could be like nerve damage, stuff like that. So these injuries aren't all created equal. So we just got to hope that it's just your, average run-of-the-mill ACL, which used to be a death sentence. Nowadays, it's 9 months and you're ready to rock and roll.
Science.
Love it.
Schefter tweeted out that after tonight's win over the Cardinals, the Patriots will stay out west and spend the rest of the week in Arizona before traveling to Las Vegas to play Sunday's game versus the Raiders. So they're staying out there. Coop, I hope you didn't have any plans to see them while they were back in town.
I was actually gonna kind of pop around, see who's hanging out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
kind of makes me sad. But I don't know. Maybe Jacoby Myers is still here.
Probably, yeah.
He's like
Rhamondre Stevenson might be headed back.
On Tuesday nights, Jacoby Myers, they always have nights where they get together and play Switch Sports, Nintendo Sports. And he's just sitting at home and he's got all the bowls of snacks out and he's got all his Switch controllers ready and he's just waiting for all his friends to show up. And then finally he gets a text. He gets a text from Davante Parker, like, sorry, in Arizona. See you next week.
Staying out here.
And he just starts playing volleyball against himself.
eat handful of pretzels.
I could Belichick does stuff like that where it's like, if they're gonna play in Mexico, then he makes them go to Denver the week before and practice up in the mountains. Like he probably will have them in the actual desert this week, like just out in the sand practicing
running like suicides.
Before they play
dealers just all around the sidelines.
Yeah,
there's showgirls dancing in the end zone.
Right. And if you look over, you have to run a lap. Like he's like watching to see if you're going to get in trouble.
Bill Belichick's just like, welcome to hell.
Right. Yeah.
And there's flashing lights all behind him and showgirls and people in costumes dancing.
Right. Yeah.
Casinos and money and poker chips.
The assistant coaches come over. They're like, "Here's a beer. Why don't you go drive on Sunset Boulevard?" And you have to make sure you're just like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he does that with there's all the clips of they play JJ Watt. He's got like dudes like strapped up with like tennis rackets, right? Or if it's even going to sprinkle, he just takes the ball and just throws it in a bucket of water. Like he overdoes it, I feel, with that stuff. But hey, that's how you get prepared, right?
Also, Tommy was in here earlier saying Pats Raiders this week. Zappy beats us late, calling it now. As a Raiders fan, I get why you think that. Whatever the most embarrassing way for you to lose is, seems to be the way that your team has gone about it this year. So checks out with the narrative. I might be buying into it, Tommy. What do you think, Coop?
I don't know, dude. I feel like Belichick has like an unwritten contract where whenever he plays a coach that used to work for him, he like lets them win. Like Bill O'Brien or Matt Patricia, they get one. Right, like I think Matt Patricia beat Belichick in the first time they met.
He whispers that in their ears after the game. That's your one. I'm coming for you next time.
So I don't know. This could be McDaniel's.
I'm proud of you, son. Oh,
this could be McDaniel's one.
It's like it's like your rival in the new Pokemon games. They are already a champion, but every time they fight you, they temper their Pokemon back. They hold back and just put ones that are about your level so you can beat them. Is that what Belichick's doing? Like, okay, I know you're not quite on Super Bowl level yet. Let me throw this game plan out there.
Just kind of throwing you a bone.
Yeah.
A very, very specific and recent example you use, Simon. What percentage of people do you think have played the new Pokemon game?
Like in the world, not very high.
Not high. But of our listeners,
I've played it and I don't even know who my rival is. Exposition. I have yet to get to that point, I guess.
What did you? Well, I'm going to ask you a question. It might be a little too personal, Simon. But what did you name your rival, or did you just leave him with the default?
Oh, you don't name them in this game. They just get a name. Just get a name.
That's garbage.
Usually he names them JL.
I usually do name them JL because it's fun.
And I name mine Simon.
Suck it, nerds. We're all nerds this beautiful morning.
We're all nerds.
Mr. Scampers in here. Beautiful morning, good people.
Mr. Scampers, go back to bed.
Scamp. That's what I name when I play Pokemon.
I think you're West Coast cat.
I have a villain. I name my Pokemon, my rival, Mr. Scampers.
Mr. Scampers, really?
It's intimidating. It's an intimidating name.
Very scary.
But Mr. Scampers, I know why they're awake. They just can't sleep because they're dead in their main home redraft league. Out of the playoffs. Ouch. I'm sorry, Mr. Scampers.
Close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone.
I thought you were about to sing the
dreams.
ASPCA.
Pass before my eyes and curiosity.
The Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, I thought you were about to go Sarah McLachlan.
Sure. That's too sad.
I just like that you stare off into the corner whenever you say it. That was my favorite part.
Mr. Scampers wants to know, what did you name you?
I remember the lyrics.
JL, what did you name you?
What did I name me? I named myself. Hey.
Is that what you named yourself in
That's
the Pokemon
what I named
game?
it. Yeah.
That's me.
No, I named myself Luke.
Oh. You're like,
Much
no,
more
sorry,
normal.
that was in Zelda. This
I had to restart
Pokemon.
because I named myself JL, and then I didn't like how it looks because the guy kept calling me Master JL, and it sounded weird. So I was like, all right, I always name myself Luke in Pokemon games. So I had to restart the whole game.
That sounds like some Star Wars shit.
Yeah, that's a little too Star Wars.
Didn't like that. Yeah,
that's like what C-3PO calls him, dude. And it's a little, slavey. It's a little slavey. I will say, dude.
Those robots, man. Side note. The lore behind the droids in Star Wars is so confusing to me. Just like blows my mind because like their existence predates the existence of like humanity and other species, meaning they were sentient pieces of technology that existed on their own. Like it's baffling. It's wild.
Reverse AI, right, dude? The
robots created the natural life.
Yeah, I just love that. My favorite part of that lore is that like when you watch the movies, like you realize that even though Luke hasn't even been born yet in the early movies, like there's R2-D2, right? Like chilling with he's in every movie, is he not? Like going all the way back?
I believe so.
Amazing.
Mr. Scammers in here said, you can't make me go back to sleep, jail, but more whiskey and Natalie Imbruglia can.
Imbruglia.
That's a good breakfast, dude. Nothing's right, I'm torn. That's Natalie Imbruglia, right? Does she have any other songs?
I think that's it. I think she just sings that one over and over. Also, Tommy in here saying C3PGO. I think CPGO probably works better.
So you know that torn. That's actually not even a song she wrote. That's a cover.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah,
I don't know who that is or what that song is.
What are you talking about, dude?
But that's interesting.
Simon,
Albert in here.
Simon, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Albert in here saying, if Rhamondre and Damien Harris are both out this week, who is the Patriots running back to pick up? Coop.
I think it feels like it's got to be. I mean, it looks like it'll probably be a split between Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong, but I lean Pierre Strong. The crazy thing about Kevin Harris getting into the game and making plays yesterday is that like they actually released him during the season. Like they drafted him in the 6th round and cut him, and then nobody wanted him. So we're like, oh, we'll just practice squad this guy, bring him back. So that leads me to believe that Pierre Strong is probably the guy that is a little more trustworthy in that organization, but hard to say. I wonder if is Ty Montgomery done for the season or can he come back?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I thought we got news that he was done earlier on in the season, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it's just crazy. We sit here thinking like the Patriots were like, why are they drafting 2 more running backs? They already have 2 good running backs, and now they have none.
Yeah,
that's fast.
They lost James
Happens
White.
fast. Comes at you quick.
Yeah. That's why gotta be careful.
Yeah, I think Pierre's would be the guy that I'd be picking up as well. Simon, are you Pierre or Kevin?
Pierre. Pierre Strong.
Pierre.
But
Pierre.
Pierre. But the most likely outcome you see is that it is a fantasy hellscape with no value in either back.
Dude, so now I know never to give you French accent because you're good at them. So gotta give you something totally different. I'll put that in the
sister
bank.
wanted to kill me when she was planning her trip to Paris because I kept saying like I was going to give her French lessons, and then I would just walk up and be like, "Ha!" And I was just over and over and over again for like.
Maria always counts to 10 in French, and I can't do it. It's just that over and over.
That was all the way to 10.
Yeah. How do you tell?
Je m'appelle Mr. Scamper.
Mr. Scamper.
Mr. Scamper.
Could you guys like at your high school tell just based on looking at them who took Latin, who took French, and who took Spanish? Like there was a type of student that took each one, and like the French kids were the most discernible. Like you knew who was studying French at your high school just by like their book bag, the shoes they were wearing.
You could smell them coming from a mile.
You could smell them. Simon, I got some good news. Yesterday we were talking, and I thought that I was going to get knocked out of the playoffs in one of our dynasty leagues.
I got knocked out instead.
No, we're both in somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know how it happened, but we're both in it.
Must be some weird settings for determining the last playoff spot, I bet.
I don't know, but I am so happy. So now We are good. We're both in it. We don't have a bye, but we're surviving.
Did you
And I
win?
beat Tim in our other one.
That's what I was going to ask. Did you beat Tim in our other one to face off against me in the next round of the playoffs?
I picked up and played Christian Wilkins against him. Got 16.5 points, 9 tackles, 1 sack.
One of his favorite players who went to his favorite college that's currently on his favorite NFL team
that
to
he
beat
dropped,
him
I think,
in the playoffs. Oh, dirty JL. That's rude.
He dropped into the waivers in September.
Ouchie, mouse.
Ouchie, mouse. Sorry, Tim.
Yikes. We got Joey in here saying, I speak a little French. You're all ass bites. Pardon my French. It's pretty good French, Joey. I didn't know you studied abroad.
I study abroad all the time.
Mr. Scamper said, I had a second grade teacher who would do a head count of us coming into class in different languages. Like every number was a different language, or every day would switch up the language. Let us know in the chat.
Dude knows a lot of numbers, dude. I'm not sure if
also second grade, they could have been making the whole thing up. None of those kids are going to know. They could have said, today I'm doing it in German and just said nonsense. Today I'm doing it in Swahili, just said, like, second graders could have just had no idea what language they were counting in.
You get away with that. But not on flannel day.
Not on flannel day.
Kids too sharp on flannel day.
Way too sharp. Did you guys see T.Y. Hilton likely signing with the Cowboys?
Wild.
After the OBJ deal fell through, or the offer never materialized. I think they were worried about OBJ. And so signing another veteran wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton.
I think that tells you how they feel about Odell Beckham Jr. and it tells you how people feel about Will Fuller, because Will Fuller is in a similar brand to T.Y. Hilton in terms of like field stretching flankers. Something going on with that dude, right? Something is not right with that guy. Like, we can speculate all we want, should we? I'll go first. I mean, there's a few different things. One, reportedly he broke his finger like really bad, like where it was just like completely shattered, like completely pickup sticks, like just
OBJ.
I know Will Fuller. When he got hurt last year, he like broke his finger was just like a bag of splinters. So I mean, maybe it never healed properly, or maybe you know what I mean. Sometimes that happens. So I'm just wondering why no one will give this guy a chance. I mean, do you guys have any theories? I have like 10.
Maybe
I don't think he's that good.
Maybe he smells.
Here's another one. Maybe he does smell. Maybe he took French in high school. So I was going through when DeAndre Hopkins got suspended. I was going through the account for that gym, kind of see what was going on over there. I like to in the off season, not a lot going on, right? So I'm like, let me check out what's going on here. A lot of pictures of DeAndre Hopkins on their page. Also, a lot of pictures of a guy named Will Fuller. So I'm wondering if perhaps nothing has come out because he's not signed. But if he were to be signed, the league would be like, hey, by the way, you're suspended.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been suspended for PEDs in the past. Will Fuller has. Has he not?
He has. No, there's something odd going on because like
this suspension, if he was suspended again, it would be quite a large suspension.
I've assumed that, or like looking at this news, that Will Fuller would be the preferred player to sign over an aging T.Y. Hilton. Like in my mind, that seems like the better player to sign to add a piece if everything else is equal, right? Length of contract, cost, all that stuff. But something's going on.
Which we don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to speculate if there's something to do with PEDs again. I don't have that information. Don't want to put that on him, but there's something odd going on. Maybe he's injured. Maybe there's something with PEDs like Coop's bringing up.
Here's my take on it. I don't care. If he signs somewhere, then that's great. Otherwise, okay.
When he plays,
well,
keep
going.
He's so good.
How does T.Y. Hilton coming onto the Cowboys shift the fantasy landscape here for you guys?
Well, it takes CeeDee Lamb and it leaves him here, and it takes Michael Gallup and it leaves him here. And it takes Noah Brown, and he puts him over there.
Really? All the way back there?
Maybe even farther back than that.
So I'm with you, Coop. It's not impacting the guys that I was already starting. The CeeDee Lambs, the Michael Gallups, the Zekes, the Tony Pollards. Maybe slight boost for Dak. If anything, like if anybody's moving, it's probably helpful to Dak to have another competent receiving option down there and one like T.Y. Hilton. But this isn't impacting the fantasy relevant receiving options for me.
JL, Scampers wants to know how this might affect Peyton Hendershot.
Peyton Hendershot's dead, bro.
Sorry, Scamp. The dream.
Yeah.
So it's our boy Cavante Turpin.
Rushed.
Probably not going to get many snaps, especially after he
Kick returns though.
Well, he also botched a punt this week that led to a touchdown.
Probably not.
Led to a pretty easy Damien Harris rushing touchdown. So probably lost a good number of snaps there.
Damien Harris is on the Texans now. Damien Pierce
on the thing. What did I say? Damien Harris.
Yeah.
I got Patriots on the mind.
I got Patriots on my mind. Little
Who
Bill
falls
Belichick.
asleep seeing those Elvis heads. He counts Elvis heads as he drifts off to dreamland. One Elvis head, two Elvis heads. They're jumping over Gillette just over and over again in Coop's dreams. Albert was in here saying it also tells you how the Cowboys feel about James Washington. I got roasted for dropping James Washington in a dynasty league the week he came back from IR. But that was exactly when I needed to drop him because he wasn't taking up a roster spot until that point. He was just sitting in one of my IR spots. But now all of a sudden there's 6 teams on bye. I've got James Washington no longer eligible in the IR. I didn't need him. I dropped him. But people roasted me over and over again for dropping that guy.
Yeah, that's the problem with the IR is at the end of the day, it just makes more decisions for you to make, especially on certain sites like ESPN where they don't let you do anything until you clean up your IR. That drives me nuts, dude. I just rage drop guys from that bench. I no joke. I
didn't believe in you anyway.
Multiple times this year, I've dropped like 1 to 2 more players than I needed to in the first place. Like just rage throwing guys out, and then I realized like, oh, I could have put this guy on IR, and then I have like 2 empty roster spots.
Coop, I rage dropped my entire taxi squad in a dynasty league before the season in a very similar motion where I was like, I couldn't get anything working with my team. And I was like, drop. And then I was like, I can't even fill my regular roster, let alone my taxi squad now. So we're just going to roll into the season playing on hard mode, baby.
Got to be careful with the rage drops. They get out of hand.
In other news, guys, 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel has an MCL sprain in his knee and an ankle sprain, but the team does expect him to return at some point during the regular season. So within the next 4 games. It's pretty interesting.
Don't you do it. Don't you give me hope. Like that just say he's going to be back or he's going to be out. I can't handle it. I can't handle it this time of year because then you're just setting yourself up for the big decision. First game back, do you put Deebo in the lineup?
Right, and that's going to be like smack dab in the middle of your playoff run.
It might be championship week. Yeah,
I know, dude. That stinks, dude. We can't have nice things. Do
you drop them and put a bomb on the waiver wire, thinking first game back?
That bomb might be a boat.
Oh, it might be a boat. That bomb might explode into a full boat, a yacht for them, but
like a super yacht.
It might be a bomb. Do you drop them?
Might be a bomb. It might be a bomb that they get to like scoop up and just like toss onto your ship. You know what I mean? Like imagine losing because you just gave your opponent Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I can't do that. That would be so. That's like the equivalent of picking up Christian Wilkins and playing him against him to knock him out of the playoffs.
I've been learning about pirates as I've been falling asleep. So the image in my mind right now is Coop on a pirate ship with his captain hat on, and a bomb comes flying through the air, and he picks it up, and on it says Coop's bomb, and then it just blows up. There goes the pirate ship. You read that it was your own bomb.
Looks over. Oh no!
Classic blunder. Who's your favorite pirate that you've been learning about so far?
It was, I'm forgetting her name, but it was this woman,
Chinese lady, right?
Yeah, the queen of the Chinese seas, who ran like a pirate empire. Like she dominated the seas around Korea, Japan, and China for a long period of time. So much so that whenever she was forced into retirement, the government that forced her into retirement fully pardoned all of her crimes, said she could keep everything that she had gotten by illegal means while she committed them, and gave her husband a high-ranking role in the military as well. Like, that was the deal they struck with her to get her to retire from piratedom. Badass.
So,
Whoa.
my question: who has the rights to that movie, bro?
For real. Why
Johnny
haven't they made
Depp,
that
I
movie
think.
yet?
He probably
Johnny
does.
Depp owns
Johnny Depp's
all
gonna
rights to all pirate movies.
Johnny Depp's gonna
Madame
be,
Jung was her name. Madame Jung was the pirate I was thinking of.
Johnny Depp's gonna play her in the movie. Johnny Depp as the pirate queen. Yeah, if you look at pictures, he's already kind of like evolving into.
That's a lie. That's a different person entirely. Just so we're clear.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought. He already looks like somebody's like auntie, you know.
Johnny Depp
So
does.
Auntie Coop,
Johnny
is that what
Depp
Auntie
does.
Coop looks like?
Just all earrings. No way, dude. Auntie Coop's beautiful.
Johnny Depp isn't beautiful.
Johnny Depp is a beautiful man. You don't think he's handsome?
I think he is. Yeah, he is. But he's starting to look pretty weird.
Captain Jack Sparrow, though, is like, there's something so charming about that character that Johnny Depp put together.
So good, bro. So good. One of the greatest characters all time.
We by recently, I mean in the last year, went back and watched every Pirates of the Caribbean movie. They do go downhill, but they're all worth watching. Every single one of them. And there's
Even
more. There's way more than you remember. Like, you're like, oh, there's 3. No, there's like 5. There's a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Yeah, they end up
World's
in like,
end to end.
They end up in like limbo at one point. Like it
does. The world began again.
It goes off the rails for sure. But one thing is consistent: Johnny Depp. The man.
Johnny Depp.
Killing
Big Mac in the chat says, "You guys are the consistent thing in my life. Let's go."
Oh,
my man.
What up, Big Mac?
Here every morning, never not here.
For you. Yeah, baby.
Thanks for spending your morning with us, my friend.
We appreciate you, my friend.
I saw a little interesting one here that somebody reported the Dolphins were using propane heaters on the sidelines in LA when it was 55 degrees. So that was too cold for the boys. Weather reports for this Saturday, they playing Buffalo. Big game, as we hashed out yesterday when JL was going through the 538 numbers. If the Dolphins win, it really changes the dynamic in the division. It says that it's going to snow and the temperatures will be in the 20s. Do you think the propane heaters are going to be able to handle that for the Finn sideline, or are they going to be in a bit of trouble here playing at the Ralph?
It's a weird narrative because isn't Miami probably hotter than LA?
Most of the time. Most of the time, I would
if
say.
not all the time.
Wait, so I don't understand the point.
They brought Miami when Miami played LA, they brought propane heaters with them to heat their sideline because 55 degrees was too cold. This week is going to be snowing and 20 degrees in Buffalo. So,
okay. I get the narrative now.
So yeah, it's basically like this team tried to bring the Miami weather with them to LA because 55 is too cold. But playing now, do you think they can handle going and playing 20-degree weather, which they haven't played in all year? Like it's basically just been home games, and they bring their little heaters with them.
Have you guys heard the term California cold?
No.
It is like a phenomenon that people swear to be true. Not just people from like LA, but people from New York who visit LA will talk about it. That 60 degrees in LA feels colder than like 32 degrees in New York City or on the East Coast. It's this like phenomenon that they swear it's called California cold. I'm not sure that applies all the way down to 20 degrees covered in snow in Buffalo, but I know that's like a phenomenon people swear by. Is like 55 in LA is like freaking cold, whereas some places it doesn't feel as cold.
I could see that though, dude. I feel that. Like when I go to if I go to Florida and everyone's wearing sweatshirts, I'm just like, now I need one, even though it's like hotter than it is for like 80% of the year where I actually live.
Mr. Scamper's confirming it for me, saying legit, and Tommy right after saying West Coast people are just softer.
Classic.
Rude.
Classic coastism right there. But Tim said the Finns are doing it to psych out the Bills, give them false confidence. I like that.
Damn,
they're like they go up, like they walk out onto the field. It is so cold. They're in Buffalo.
Oh no! Where's my sweater?
They've each got like 7 pairs of mittens on to make them. They all wear mittens, not gloves.
Jalen Waddle
trying to play football with mittens on. which is crazy because like offensive players, of course, couldn't, but like defensive players, no problem. Like it's always crazy to me. I'll be watching a game and there'll be some cornerback that's got like a broken arm, and it's like broken, like he's got like a cast like above his elbow, and he's like, "Nah, I'll play with this, coach. Just tape a little club on the end there."
And then he throws the ball like where he just gets another player to like pull it back like a slingshot.
farther.
Defensive players are a different breed. You know what I mean? Offensive players, you get a hangnail and you're like, I'm out. Defensive
Out for
players
6
are
weeks.
like, defensive players are like lugging around a club foot. You know, I'm good,
Defensive
coach.
coaches are the ones that use the like, we play through pain, not injury, and that's pain. Get your ass back on the field.
Exactly, dude.
What was
Play
the term you
100%
used earlier, Coop? Bag of splinters.
The bag of, that's
That conjures quite the image in my head.
So far on
Good
this
luck.
show in the past week, we've said
Bone cradle?
sack or cradle,
Oh.
bone cradle,
bone sack, dude.
The heck is a
Oh.
bone sack?
and sack of needles.
That's
A bone
what,
sack.
Sack of needles. Sack
So
of
wait,
needles.
why is sack getting inserted into
That
all
is
of these?
wrong. Also, needles
And-
and sack is wrong. What was it? Bag of splinters.
bag of splinters. Yeah,
Sack
that's
of
what
needles,
Will
what I
Fuller's
said.
fingers, just little meat bags, splintery meat bags.
A bag of splinters and a sack of needles are very similar things,
Yeah, I'll say that. I'll give you
Fair.
that.
That's
right?
fair.
Maybe some more uniformity among the needles than among the splinters is the biggest difference there.
Dustin in the chat said, "What's up, everyone? What up, Dustin?
Yeah.
And we just talking about
As-
your Bills, dude.
You Bills.
But for real,
Bills.
it probably is an advantage for the Bills this weekend. The Dolphins coming from Miami, going up to play in 20-degree weather, but we know that it's an advantage for the Bills this time of year in almost every home game. And maybe just exaggerated a little bit with Miami. Bone basket. It was a
What
bone
did I say? Bone
basket.
cradle.
A
guess
tisket, a
bone cradle.
tasket. Bring me a bone basket.
All right.
Did you guys see it? Marlon Humphrey said that George Pickens was burning him when they faced off this weekend. The Ravens cornerback said that Pickens has a lot of dog in him.
Oh,
That's some high praise from a really good cornerback.
yeah, for sure. I mean, move him up the ranks. I always love to hear that. You know, like the Christian Watson quote was similar, where I forget it was either James Bradbury or Darius Slay was like, that dude was too fast. He goes, at one point I just grabbed him. Probably should have been a penalty, and I just said, slow down, young man.
Slow down, young man.
But yeah, you gotta take those props, dude. File them away when you're doing your dynasty trades. He's got no reason to say that unless he means it, right? Unless he's just trying to gas him up.
Yeah. When it's like a Marlon Humphrey, not quite, he's not a very old player, right? He's like 26, 27.
Yeah, he's young.
He's a pretty young player, Marlon Humphrey. Whenever this is like an older player saying these kinds of things about a young player, I always think of it in their mind as kind of like passing the torch of stardom. Know what I mean? Like where they're like, you know what? Like what people think of me right now doesn't matter as much as what like people think of this guy. Like he's the next generation. And it's like a selfless act. This, I think it was just this dude going like, damn.
And Marlon Humphrey just
Pickens
takes
was
whatever is
good.
on his mind.
He
That guy
does.
has no.
Unless it's Patrick Peterson, then he's doing that because he got burned that week, and he's like, I'm not old. This guy's just really good. Like I'm not getting old. This guy's just awesome, dude. He's amazing. Like
It's an ego thing.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he had 120 yards on me, but that's not because I'm bad. This guy, right? Props.
Yeah, Marlon Humphrey will say whatever's on his mind. He just tweet out like, "How do you tell your girl that she's fat without being mean?" Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. Just keep things in your head.
Dude, the Dolphins used to have a cornerback whose wife was like that on Twitter, and it was amazing. Tim, if you can remember, the Dolphin cornerback wife just every week saying whatever she felt about the team, everything else, and it was. I mean, the Dolphins didn't like it, but everybody else loved it because there's nothing better than somebody who has zero filter, getting on social media and going wild.
We need more of that in the NFL. I want the drama. I want the reality television style drama. I say it every day.
Brent Grimes' wife, Miko Grimes. Miko Grimes on Twitter. She was
going wild.
Oh, crazy, dude. There's an article on the New York Post. I typed in her name. NFL wife terror, Miko Grimes, just as crazy as you thought.
Oops.
Oops. Whoopsies.
Mr. Scamper's down here saying Grimes.
There
Is that
it
Grimes
dude.
like the musical artist Grimes, the one that then married Elon Musk? Is it the same person?
My answer to that is definitely.
Definitely. Thanks for looking that up. I have no idea if that's the same person.
I choose to believe. I choose to believe.
It's a different person entirely. Just an entirely different person. Frank Grimes from The Simpsons. That's who it is. We're just talking. Apparently, Grimes is a pretty common last name.
And everybody that has it is wild.
Did you guys see that the not that I don't want to talk about people whose last name are Grimes for the next 30 minutes. Did you see the Falcons released veteran running back Damien Williams? This comes from Adam Schefter. Damien Williams no longer on the Falcons. He's said to be 100% healthy and well rested. I think he's going to get signed somewhere at this point.
He'll probably get signed back to the Chiefs or the Cardinals. You know, the usual suspects. Those guys always seem to just like trickle back to where they came from.
And Jay, I'm sure you got something really interesting to say right here.
Rosie was growling at people outside, so I had to mute myself.
Rosie, get a Rosie.
Don't encourage her. Actually, encourage her. She loves it. What'd you ask me? I answered it, but now I forget.
Damien Williams released. Is he going to sign somewhere?
Yeah, no, he'll go somewhere for sure. Doesn't matter for fantasy.
Yeah, it won't impact fantasy, but guys like that, they find their way.
This is insane. I did not see this until right now. Did you guys see the Cardinals mascot broke his ankle doing a backflip during the game?
No.
Yeah.
Pre-game. Is this pregame?
Yeah, it's right before the game. I think they said that he broke his ankle.
Oh my God, I missed that. That's wild.
Yeah, that's a bad omen.
Right? And then everybody got hurt.
The whole game was just full of injuries. Coop, I'm guessing you just watched the video because of the face that you just made.
Yeah, not good, dude. The crazy thing is now, like all this talk about blaming turf, you can't blame it in this game because the Cardinals have one of, if not the best playing surface in the league. Even though they play in a hot climate, they have a dome. They wheel the field out of the stadium, grow the grass inside, and then wheel the stadium back in, and they wheel the grass back inside the stadium, and then they play in a dome on like amazing grass. So can't blame the injuries on that. They have a great field, one of the best.
Shout out turf grass majors everywhere. You guys make grass technology like that possible. You turf grass scientists.
You turf grass scientists sounds condescending.
Every time I met a turf grass major at Clemson, I was just like, that's so cool. Like you came to college and you were like, I'm studying grass, baby. They get good jobs.
Half those dudes are just people that love golf, and they're like, I'm just gonna go get myself a job on a nicest possible golf. How do I get an advantage of getting a job on a golf course? Oh, I'll just be a grass scientist.
I'll just be grass scientist. And Dr. David Chow on Twitter did mention that half of the ACL tears have been on grass this season, half have been on turf. 16 each.
That doesn't fit the narrative though, folks.
Well, I mean, I know that's been the response from the league is like a lot of this, like we are more than willing to make any of these changes and requirements that'll improve player safety. Like that's our goal as well. But until we see empirical evidence that this will in fact increase player safety, reduce the number of injuries, then we aren't going to mandate these changes, right? Like they're saying they need that empirical evidence that in fact it does cause more injuries playing on turf. Like we all believe it. I see it. It feels like players are slipping more on it. But they're saying that the data doesn't back it up.
I was like, okay, how many teams have grass versus turf? If there's more turf fields and there's more plays on turf, now it actually turns out that 16 of 30 teams play on grass. So pretty close to down the middle.
Well, there's 32 teams, right?
16 of 32 teams. That's what I said.
That's perfectly down the middle.
No. There's 32 teams, but a couple of the teams.
There's not 32 stadiums.
Yeah, a couple of teams play in the same stadium. The
Rams, Chargers,
and the
Chargers, LA.
Yeah, so there's 30.
Are those the only two?
That's the only two.
That makes sense. That why you'd say 30 then.
Every once in a while, the Bills go play in Detroit, but that's a different story.
And unless you count the University of Pittsburgh as an NFL team, which they're not at all. So that would be weird if you counted them. But they share a stadium with the Steelers. But you would just be wrong if you were counting them as an NFL team.
So don't do it.
Don't do it.
Mr. Scamber's in here saying the league paying people to tear their crap on grass is scandalous.
Classic.
That would be
Tear
the
their
scandal
crap.
of the century.
Dude,
Tear their crap on the grass.
Imagine that, dude. Kyler Murray secretly tore his ACL the week before on turf, and the NFL was like, "You just hold it together for one more week." And then the first one,
3 plays in.
we have to investigate.
He's like, I can't do anymore. I'm down.
The number of players that played one snap before going off. I don't know.
Wow.
That would be absurd if that would be like jaw-dropping scandal if that came out right now.
That's some ancient aliens logic right there, dude.
God, I love that show. That show's so much fun or have you ever watched America's Book of Secrets?
Nah, dude.
It'll start very normal. It'll be like there's an episode on Fort Knox, and they'll be like, maybe there's less gold than they say in Fort Knox. Maybe there's no gold in Fort Knox. Maybe aliens came to Earth and stole all of the gold from Fort Knox. Like, it escalates so quickly. We're like, it's like, this is reasonable. This is reasonable. And then it's like the army of aliens and Yeti marched upon Fort Knox and stole the gold. And there's a huge conspiracy to cover it up.
Yeah, it always devolves to aliens, doesn't it? Or Sasquatches.
Every time, every single time, it's like aliens, Sasquatch.
It's like, I those shows, man, they are wildly entertaining. But the stretches they go to, like, it'll be like a broken log, and they're like, only a Sam Squanch could have possibly broken a log in this fashion. I'm like, that's just a
It's
regular.
funny you guys
tree.
bring up Bigfoot and stuff because Marie and I were watching Unsolved Mysteries yesterday. You guys ever watch that? It's like Netflix rebooted it.
Of course.
Really good series. And they have on the new season, they have this one on Bigfoot in the Navajo like reserve in I think Arizona. And we're sitting there watching it. I'm skeptical. I'm like, I'm not sure I buy into this because all of the people, they like, it's not only they were talking about what they observed, but they would go a step further and be like, yeah, therefore there's all of these other things that we don't know about, this whole other realm of dimensions. And I'm like, see, now you're making me like not trust you like this. And then they use this one example, this woman who's driving and she saw this orb of flying light. It was flying next to her car and it like was doing all this stuff. She kept looking over. It was there. It was like a red orb. And then it turned white. It followed her for like a quarter of a mile before it like took off and flew up in the sky. And then she's like, yeah, the next day I woke up with a migraine. And they were trying to say like, oh, like she got a migraine because of this orb. And I'm like, it sounds like an ocular migraine you got. And you were getting shimmers and you thought it was an orb.
Every time, dude. Every time it starts out here and then it goes, okay, that makes sense. Now things are getting weird. And then it jumps to here. And then it jumps right all the way to aliens. The great leap of logic. To the end part. Yeah.
It'd be like,
I'm following you. Nope, you went too far.
And you lost me.
It'd be like if I ate $40 worth of Taco Bell, had diarrhea for like 3 days where it just tore me apart, and then was like, I must have been probed. My butt is sore. Aliens abducted me and probed me. That is the only solution. It could not have been the Taco Bell that I ate and destroyed my insides with.
Mr. Skinwalkers will steal all your panko breadcrumbs, dude. They work on them, Skinwalkers.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Hate that you called them Skinwalkers. That's
what they call them. It's like a Navajo lore. They call them Skinwalkers. Dude. Yeah.
I'm more of a reptilian shapeshifter guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sammy Walker.
That checks out.
What am I? Jail? What kind of alien species am I?
You're a hair walker.
A hair walker?
Yep.
That sounds, you know what? That didn't give me like the shivers like Skinwalker does, so I'll take it.
Skinwalker.
Master hair walker.
The remake, but it's like Chewbacca and Luke switch places.
That's kind of you.
Chewbacca and Luke mixed together. You know what? I'll take it. One more thing I wanted to bring up, guys. It was a tweet from our friend JJ Zacharyson that he put out yesterday. We've been talking all year about how great of a matchup the Texans are for running backs. And because of that, how it can affect the wide receivers playing against them. And JJ pulled this stat. So the Texans have allowed one wide receiver one performance, a top 12 performance this year. And it came in week 1 to Michael Pittman. So wide receivers just aren't doing it against the Texans. And I don't think it's anything that their secondary is doing. I think it's just exactly what we've been talking about all year. The running backs can just get it done. You don't have to do anything against the Texans but run the ball.
Yeah. Michael Pittman was the only one.
Michael Pittman's the only one, and he did it in week
wild.
1.
That's crazy, bro. Shootouts go both ways, though, man. You need the full formula. Like the Patriots, I pointed out, the Patriots are like the black hole for fantasy football. There's nothing worse than a team that has a slow, boring offense and a solid defense and then amazing special teams. Like there's nothing that kills fantasy football production like a punt being down to the 4-yard line, right? Like, so some of these teams are just not built for shootouts. Like the Lions are the best, right? Good offense, terrible defense. Hell yeah. Sign me up.
We love
Vikings.
the Lions this year.
Yeah,
We do.
it's great. Great for fantasy. Texans, no.
Keith in the chat said, do skinwalkers smell like skin? JL,
Probably.
do they?
Probably. It's just that, just to lure in Simon.
I sure hope not.
He's like, what is that? Is that the
I'm
sweet
gonna
smell
fight
of
you
skin?
guys. It is not a smell that I seek out. Just I was going for default smell.
Sweet smell.
I just want default smell. Like if I have to smell like one thing for the rest of my
Just say
life, I want it to be
air.
No, I don't want to smell like nothing. That would be creepy. If there was a complete lack of scent, I want
You
to
wanna
smell like what
skin.
just
Oh.
humans smell like.
Wow.
You got to understand how that makes us uncomfortable, right?
I feel not uncomfortable. See, do you feel uncomfortable right there, Coop?
Yeah, I wouldn't have until you started talking.
That's the
smell.
That's
About the smell of skin.
That's the sweet, sweet smell of skin. Tell me how it
Sweet
smells.
smell of skin.
Everybody out
Albert
there,
in the
lick,
chat said,
lick your
did
hand
they
and
place
stuff.
Marcus Mariota on season-ending IR?
They did.
I think they're planning to. I don't know that they have yet, though. I have not seen that they officially put him on there, but I believe that is the general sentiment around the Falcons.
I tell you right now, it's pretty rare that they say we're going to put this guy on IR, and then they're like, just kidding.
Nah,
You know?
psych.
So once you see the official Twitter account start saying it, usually it's pretty official.
Yeah.
So they're rolling with Desmond Ridder and Logan Woodside.
Desmond Ridder starting this week. Fire him up.
Quarterbacks. I'm excited to see him.
They also have another. They also have an emergency quarterback. A guy that converted to tight end, Felipe Franks, I think it was.
That's
He
right.
played
From
for
Florida State, right?
I think it was a Florida, not Florida State, but still.
You're right.
So I imagine that guy could play a little bit of quarterback in a pinch. Florida's a pretty good school.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't realize he had transitioned to tight end. I completely missed that narrative with Mr. Felipe Franks out there. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some fact or flash. Let you know if the performances we saw here in week 14 were fact or just a flash in the pan. We've got some fantasy feud coming up as well. And then we are going to give out some superlatives. And as always, if you've got questions for us, throw them in the chat and we would be more than happy to answer them for you. You're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Call, chat, and enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Better Sports Network. Moose and Keith.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice.
So,
Your wife did a good job.
yeah, you may want to talk to your wife. I would say about 13, he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required. And then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You don't need to be like right 100% of the time.
No, there was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out what speed these guys are running on the field. yet somehow we still mark the ball
That's my
by
favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we could probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then like immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
what I love.
satellite.
Like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you like, first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, it doesn't count. Sorry, couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have like satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
And I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's like, and not to mention like that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball like right into his face, right? Like he's coming over to spot it, and it's like every other time the player's just like, here you go, here's another thing to juggle.
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
Is it me, Ray, or is the only publicity that Microsoft Surface has gotten out of their whole thing on the sideline is people throwing them to the ground in anger? Like, is that just a me thing? Or the only time I hear about this device, Ray, is when somebody is chucking it on the ground, just pissed off at it. Which I get it. All of us are in that world. We love to do that. Only in the NFL, Ray, can they get away with it because these are free. There's no cost. It's part of the sponsorship. Here's 5,000 Microsoft tablets to get you through the NFL season. And these players, Ray, just slamming them down. It's like they've become Gilbert on the sideline, and they're so frustrated. They're just like the only publicity this company and this product has gotten is negative.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to get into some Fact or Flash, the segment where we go through players with big performances in Week 14 and let you know whether it's fact or whether it's a little bit of flash. It's not going to be sustainable for those guys. And we had some big performances this week. We had some fun fantasy performances. I have a feeling maybe one of Coop's favorite players might come up a little bit in this segment after that big performance this week. We got Mr. Scampers in the chat just yelling Keith over and over and over again.
Keith
was really trying to get Keith's attention. And Keith, completely ignoring him, came in and said, Cole Beasley is in Buffalo. Rumors he might be making a comeback.
bonk.
I mean, maybe, dude. Maybe. I feel like now that Elon Musk has decided that it's okay to be anti-vax, like Cole Beasley's kind of back now,
I mean, he is the best wide receiver in the league. Self-proclaimed, but still, that's something.
Right.
And the
Makes
best
a lot of
rapper
sense.
in the league.
That's true.
That's actually
Also
that's
self-proclaimed.
actually legitimately true though.
Every mirror he looks in, he's wearing
because
his helmet.
Only because
These
Swag
things-
Kelly isn't in the league anymore. If Swag
That's
Kelly
true.
was in the league, he would have him beat. But Cole Beasley, you're sitting atop the throne.
Once you start, I feel like in my dynasty leagues, I'm gonna start treating rapping as a mega red flag. Like once you start rapping, I'm trading you. Because it's like only a matter of time before you become Antonio Brown, like Kadarius
Or
Toney,
Cole Beasley.
or Cole Beasley, or what was the one you just mentioned? The Swag Kelly.
Swag Kelly.
I gotta move Kadarius Toney, dude, before it gets too late.
My last image in my head of Swag Kelly is an article I read, and they had a picture of him sitting on his couch because he was drafted to the Broncos. It's Mr. Irrelevant, but then he didn't play, and it was just the whole article was about how he's just sitting at home doing nothing, doing absolutely nothing, just sitting on his couch.
Oh,
I just
he's
remember
still doing
after he was kicked out of Clemson, Dabo released him from the team. He goes to Ole Miss, playing there, and then there's a newspaper article that comes out that he got into an altercation at his brother or cousin's high school football game, and he brought an AK out into the parking lot or a gun into the parking lot to try to intimidate them. What the hell, Swag?
Swag.
He also got like he went to remember he was with the Broncos and he like went to a Halloween party and then like he got so hammered at the Halloween party that he like thought he was going to his own house, but he just went into some random person's house and was just like sleeping on their couch.
Is that a real story? I don't remember that. That's wild.
Chad Kelly arrested on trespassing charges while in a cowboy costume following a Broncos Halloween party. And I think
Coop,
that was the
fact that
explanation.
I have a friend in college, my friend Allie, who her freshman year, or maybe it was walking around campus and found a guy passed out, face down on the ground on campus. Got him up, brought him back to her dorm, put him on her futon, let him sleep there. Woke up the next morning. It was Chad Kelly, who she found passed out on campus and brought to her. Like, that is not the first time he's ended up just asleep on some random person's futon. I guess at least that time he was invited.
Was he dressed as a cowboy that time too?
No, but she said he was a real dick. Like, he wasn't nice the next morning whenever he woke up. Like, he was rude and left to the random girl who like probably saved his
helped him out.
whatever he didn't destroy of his college career. If you're found face down on campus, that's not a good sign. But Dustin in here was saying it was just reported that Beasley is signing with the Beals. The Beals is signing with the Beals. JL, as the leader of the Cole Beasley hype train in previous seasons, I know you said bonk, but I feel like you're a little bit excited somewhere deep down.
You a Bees guy?
I am 0% excited.
Are you and the Bees boys back in business?
Bees boys are not back. The Bees boys are never coming back.
JL was in a 0-win situation that year because he was right. We should have been drafting Cole Beasley. I think it was 2 seasons ago. And you were telling everyone, you're like, guys, I don't want to do this. I do not like, but like, he's just a value. And you were right, but you never felt good about being right. You were just like,
no, because it was like the 17th round. And I'm like, guys, someone take Cole Beasley so I don't have to, please.
Dude, there are so many players like that though, where you're just like, that they produce, but you just don't trust them and you don't feel good about them, right? Like Miles Sanders could be the RB2 on the season, and people would still be like, "Do I start Miles Sanders this week?"
RB7. Let's put him at RB7.
You can put him anywhere. You can put him at RB1, and people would still be like,
"Go start Antonio Gibson or Miles Sanders this week."
That's what I'm saying, though. It never feels right. It never quite feels right.
You're right. No matter what he's doing out there. Mr. Scambers in here said, if you wake up in a stranger's home, at least cook breakfast for them before you leave. Whatever you're dressed as.
What is when Chad Kelly wakes up, blackout drunk at your house, dressed like a cowboy? What is he making you for breakfast?
A cigarette and
scrambled
Eggos.
eggs, egg whites that he made himself.
A cigarette and Eggos, dude. That sounds more like it.
And he's microwaving the Eggos. He's not putting them in the toaster, so they're floppy.
Even though the toaster's right next to the microwave.
Yeah, the toaster's right. In fact, it would be easier to use the toaster than the microwave, but he's doing it
because he's just microwaving one by one.
It can't fit more than one. You won't get the right floppy consistency.
This is the floppy consistency is disgusting. Fact or fiction? I mean, Flash.
If you microwave your floppy ass waffles, I do not trust you even a little bit. Guys, let's start with a running back from yesterday's game. Factor Flash. Pierre Strong, 5 rushes, 70 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. Coop. What do you think of Pierre Strong?
Pierre Strong. I got a little rushing with that one. I got to see the injury to Rhamondre Stevenson, the level of it. If Stevenson misses time, then you got to kind of lean into it because this team is willing to run, and I don't think they care necessarily who the back is. Like, they do not really have the weapons to be slinging it. They're going to run no matter what. So if Stevenson's out, then I'm in, but otherwise I'm just sitting here saying, man.
Yeah, this is fully dependent on the injury and what sort of news we get this week for Rhamondre Stevenson and Damien Harris.
Mm-hmm.
What I saw from Pierre Strong, though, he looked good out there, right? He looked like he had a spark. So if Rhamondre Stevenson is out, he's the one I'm prioritizing over Kevin. Kevin can stay on the waiver wire for me.
So one of the big reasons, especially in Dynasty, that you would go for Pierre Strong, dude ran a 4.37 at the combine. So for running backs, that's 99th percentile speed. And he's 5'11", 207. So he's not even that small to be that fast. You know what I mean? Like the line is kind of 200 pounds, right? Some people say 195 because that's where Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler were. But Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler don't look the way they looked when they got drafted. Those guys weigh over 200 pounds now, right? So for me, 200 pounds is where I like to see guys above, right? 207, 437, 40. Sign me up. I'm signed up for that.
It's a fast, big boy back there.
Fast.
He's killing it. I'm digging Pierre Strong's talent, and if he gets some of that opportunity, he's probably fantasy relevant, but we'll probably see a split. It's not going to be the same volume that Rhamondre Stevenson was getting. He's not Rhamondre Stevenson.
The week before last, Rhamondre Stevenson played 63 of 64 snaps.
Hot mama, hot pasta, floppy waffle. That's what you look for in a fantasy player.
Waffle.
That gives you a firm waffle. That kind of usage.
That was toasted on setting 5. Waffle was.
That's a crispy waffle right there, boys.
Dr. Squanch in here saying, morning, boys. What's up, Dr. Squanch? And said, I needed
Squanch.
Kyler and Stevenson to win, so I hope you guys are doing better. I'm sorry, my friend. At this point in the season, that's brutal. It's brutal at any point, but week 14, I'm sorry, man.
No way, dude. That's the best outcome. Because you lost and it's no fault of your own. So you're still a genius, bro. You're still a genius, and it was the fantasy gods who were cruel mistresses.
You know what? You're right, because now for the rest of the offseason, you can say, I would have won if they didn't get hurt.
Won.
I would have won. When in reality, most people lose fantasy. Almost everyone in your league loses. Everyone except for one person loses your fantasy.
Would you rather
league.
have it be your fault entirely or it be not your fault entirely?
I think that's pretty easy. Entirely not my fault. In fact, it's never been my fault. I've played in so many fantasy leagues, and it's never been my fault that I lost.
Oh, there's some this year where it's totally my fault. There's some leagues this year where I'm like, yep, that's on me. That's 100% on me right now.
18 league, 100% me.
You left Kyler when he was hurt. Is that the week you got eliminated?
Yeah. Yep.
I have a league that brings me great pain. It's actually an underdog league. I was like checking my underdogs, and I decided to do just like one 12-team league, $100 buy-in. So the winner gets like $650, right? And I'm like checking it out. Just this week, I'm like checking it out. I'm like, oh, nice. I'm in first place. I'm winning $640. And then I look at my quarterbacks are Justin Fields and Russell Wilson and nobody else. So now I just get to watch my team slowly drop out of the money in that league.
Brutal.
Sad.
Brutal.
Very sad.
Hey, maybe Russell Wilson has a late season surge, Coop.
Pretty sure he's hurt.
Yeah.
You got concussed, right?
Concussion. Yeah. So maybe he can play. I kind of need him to. What's with Justin Fields, dude? He's all right.
I think he's supposed to be back, right? At a certain point. So you may not be completely screwed, Coop. You may have some hope.
I'm just worried they're going to reduce Fields' workload. Like now that as soon as they get eliminated, it would be pretty silly of them to just have that guy scrambling around all over,
100%. Let's hit another one of these factor flash plays, guys. A player that I think has been up and down the season, but we've talked about his role being pretty secure. Running back Jerick McKinnon for the Kansas City Chiefs. 7 receptions, 112 receiving yards, 6 rushes, and 22 yards on the ground. John Luke, is Jerick McKinnon fact or flash?
At this point, I think he's fact. Guys. He's got pretty good matchups going forward. Houston, Seattle, and then Denver again. Denver, which has been really tough for running backs. Like he just destroyed them. 2 touchdowns. Wild.
Now
I don't expect that to happen again. I expect Denver to kind of figure that out a bit, but still, I mean, Houston, Seattle, decent.
So the problem there is that, so I think the player himself is fact, like he's good. The problem is that they've been using him in negative game scripts. They use him on pass downs and they use Pacheco on rundowns. So if he's the guy that they use, like this week, they won 34-28. That was a game, right? Like it was a real game. So you got to lean into the pass a little bit. If they're just going to blow out the Texans and the Raiders and the Broncos and the Seahawks, then it might be more of a Pacheco game. That's a concern for me. But I still think the guy, just based on the pass work alone, is a fact. And you just got to hope that they don't stop throwing. So I'm sticking with fact, but I'm just a little cautious about some of these matchups. Like you just said, the Texans, right? No wide receivers are doing anything. I mean, the run game, what Jerick McKinnon does is an extension of the pass game. So I get a little worried that when you play the Texans, maybe they don't throw enough.
And Mr. Scamber's down here saying he was used during the blowout portion of the game, though, right? Saying he was used during that blowout portion. I do think his usage, I do think he has been used in games whenever they've been up big on those third down plays. But Coop, I think generally like that rule that you're saying is if it's not necessary for them to throw the ball, it adds a layer of risk for Jerick McKinnon's usage, right? He's not guaranteed. He's not a piece that's necessary in those kinds of wins because they're just going to keep pounding the ball. And especially, I believe you said they had the Texans coming up, JL, especially against the Texans we just read that stat that JJ pointed out. They haven't had I know McKinnon's a running back, but they haven't had a top 12 wide receiver since week 1 against them because they're so abysmal against the run. Pacheco should feast against the Texans.
And he's not had double-digit carries in the game all year. And can we bank on him to, like, if you think about how he scored this week, it was that like weird underhand flick pass that he took for a 50-yard touchdown. It's like, can you bank on that type of stuff? I don't know.
No, of course not. You can't expect 32 points every single week, but you can expect, I think, like these low end RB2 numbers.
Yep. He's like in past years how he would throw in a James White or you throw in a Kareem Hunt, and know that he's going to catch a couple passes and potentially steal a touchdown either on the ground or through the air. Like I feel like that's how I feel about the player, right? JL, you're kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like good when the Patriots were really good, James White, you could count on him. He had a stretch of like 55 games where he caught 2 passes in like 52 of them. Like James White in PPR, he had a nice floor. I think that's what we can bank on from McKinnon. That he'll catch a pass every game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel pretty comfortable with his role. I think he's a fact. Jerick McKinnon's a fact for me. And this is I was just looking at the like top 12 running backs for this week in PPR, and this is my favorite kind of week when you look at these lists because the guys who are supposed to kill it, like in that top 12, you've got Christian McCaffrey, you've got Austin Eckler, you've got Derrick Henry, you've got Josh Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott, like the usual suspects are there, but then you've also got Jerick McKinnon, you've got Tony Pollard, you've got Chuba Hubbard, JK Dobbins, Pierre Strong. Like it's a nice mix of you could have gotten it done with some guys off the waiver wire with some people that you drafted late, and you also got rewarded just for having the studs. It's these weeks that make fantasy fun. It's not fun when you just see Pierre Strong, Jerick McKinnon, Chuba Hubbard, like just in the top 10 are all like right.
I hate when that happens with wide receiver, and then like which it kind of did this week. But I hate when that happens with wide receiver, and well, actually not really. There were some other guys mixed in, and then the 0 RB guys come out of the woodwork, and they're like, "See, just draft the wide receivers, bro. That's it, just all wide receivers."
And then you just wait till the following week. You wait till the following week when every top 12 wide receiver are the ones that got drafted top 12, and all of the running backs are just the studs.
We got Jeff Johnson in the chat saying, "Am I crazy for wanting to start Dobbins over Saquon this week?" Not crazy.
For the matchups.
I don't think I'd do it.
Ravens are playing the Browns, which is a beautiful matchup for them. For the running back position specifically, then the Giants have the Commanders, so not the world's best matchup. I'm still playing Saquon, but I don't think you're crazy for wanting to start Dobbins over him. Dobbins looked good first came back. Obviously a step missing. Didn't look like old Dobbins. Maybe it's just shaking off some of that rust coming back from an injury. But it could be something that lingers. I'm rolling Saquon out. He's Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I mean, Saquon did split with the other guys, man. It was pretty scary. He actually played fewer snaps than both Matt Breida and Gary Brightwell. I don't know.
He's coming back from injury as well.
Are you making this move?
Right?
I don't know, dude. JL, you're supposed to be the Ravens guy. You tell me, dude.
You tell me, man. I already said I wouldn't do it.
Then I'm not doing it either. I'm going to start Saquon Barkley. He's Saquon Barkley. Haha.
Haha. You just don't want to start with you don't want to leave Saquon Barkley on your bench and then he goes off.
Right. Who's your other running back? Who's your other running back?
Yeah, unless it's like Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Dobbins might be the play.
Looks like he has Dalvin, Saquon, Mixon.
No, that's Scampers.
Oh, that's Scamp. Yeah, let me know who your other running back is that you're like. I mean, your team must be a wagon if you're deciding between those guys.
Absolutely.
Well, or you just got Dobbins back because he's been sitting on your bench all year.
That's true. You made the plans.
The next player I wanted to talk about, guys, Coop, you're going to be excited about this one. Tight end Evan Engram of the Jacksonville Jaguars had himself a freaking game. Unbelievable what he did. 11 receptions, 162 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns for Evan Engram. Coop, is this factor flash for the tight end down in Jacksonville?
Look, if we're going to define this as can he do this every week, then it's a fact. You can basically count on 40 to 50 points from Evan Engram moving forward. No, I mean, the thing is with this game, this is what we thought this guy was always capable of when he's healthy. He has the speed, right? 4.42 is like legit 100th percentile speed. It's him and Kyle Pitts that basically run that fast, and a guy named Eli Wolf that I still think deserves a shot in this league. Currently a practice squad IR Washington Commanders player. But those are the 3 guys that run that fast that play tight end. No joke. So you knew he was capable of it. He showed us what he could do. The thing is, we also know what he's capable of on the other side. So keep that in mind. But I think after these past 2 weeks, you can't bench this player. So you just got to roll with it, man. You made your bet a long time ago when you got in bed with me and Evan Engram. And it's a twin. It's a twin. It's a bunk bed, and all of us are on the top bunk, and it is pretty shaky. But just know right now, we're riding high.
We're having fun.
Who's on the bottom? Who's in the danger zone?
There's nobody down there. You're also down there. You're on the top and on the bottom. And when it collapses, we're all dead, baby. But that's all right, dude, because right now we're on the top of the bunk. We're on the top of the world.
We're on the top bunk.
JL, Evan Engram, factor flash.
I'm gonna go with fact. I agree with Coop that he's not gonna be able to do 40 points every week. I mean that's an absurd expectation. But he's got a pretty nice schedule coming up, guys. From the tight end perspective, the Jacksonville Jaguars, we talked about it a ton on this show about how the Jacksonville Jaguars have a beautiful rest of season schedule. They have Dallas this week. That's not so good for tight end, but bear with me here. The Jets, great for tight ends. Houston, great for tight ends. And then if you are a poor soul who plays on week 18, Tennessee, fantastic against tight ends. Well, and terrible against tight ends, I guess is the better way to put it. So I would say fact. Trevor Lawrence coming into his own. He's figuring it out. He looks good. And Evan Engram seems to be one of his guys. So yeah, fact.
It's a fact. 15 targets. I don't care who you are. I'm probably starting you the following week. 15 targets. That's the kind of volume that you like to see. He's not going to get that every single week, but 7 targets last week, 15 targets this week, touchdowns in both of those games. It looks like Trevor Lawrence in this Jacksonville offense is maybe hitting his stride a little bit here down the stretch of the season. I'm starting him the rest of the way out. And I see JHI in here with a question, Kmet or Engram rest of season? Give me Engram. What about you, Coop?
Kmet has some bad matchups, brother. Kmet's next 2 games are against the Eagles, against the Commanders. I don't even got to look that up because it keeps me up at night.
Eagles and Buffalo.
Eagles and Buffalo. That's what I said. So I do have to look.
That is what you said.
But so Buffalo is pretty much just as bad as Commanders because they have Matt Milano. And he is a real problem for tight ends. Matt Milano and Jordan Poyer do a pretty good job covering the tight end position. So I do worry about Cole Kmet. If you have other guys, the one thing you can count on with Cole Kmet is that last 3 games, he's played literally every single snap, 100% of the snaps, which is basically
getting targeted too.
Right. He's basically what Logan Thomas was in the year that Logan Thomas came out at the end of the year and in 2020 and just kind of like went from wide receiver 26 at week 6 and just played every single snap and just quietly climbed his way up the leaderboard. Right. That's what Cole Kmet's doing. It's just 2 bad matchups coming up. Championship week, good matchup. So if you have other people, mix and match, maybe. But Kmet and Engram are both essentially been top 5 guys in route participation the last few weeks. So I don't mind having them. I got a lot of leagues where I have those guys.
So Tim in here saying I had Chuba, McKinnon, and Engram on my Scott Fishbowl bench this week. Can't believe I made it to the next round. Tim, I'm sitting right there with you with Engram on the bench. That one hurts over there. But fact, let's plug him in next week. I'm not leaving him on my bench again. We're not leaving him on bench. And guys, if you're enjoying what we're doing over here, head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy. Make sure you're subscribed. There's a lot more of us, and you can make sure you never miss any of our live shows. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 a.m. And Sunday. Here or on our YouTube channel or on the BSN app. And then we've got other shows throughout the week, some more game shows, Q&As that you want to make sure you're not missing. Our next fact or flash player is Marquise Goodwin, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. He had 5 receptions, 95 receiving yards, and a touchdown. John Luke, Marquise Goodwin, fact or flash?
Has got flash written all over him. Always been flash. He's going to continue being flash. This is the first time that he has had 6 targets in a single game this season. He's had 5, so maybe that's a bit misleading, but this is not usual for him. The touchdown gave him a nice little boost here. I'm gonna go flash.
Yeah, you go ahead, Simon.
I'm gonna go flash as well here. I think he's a talented player. He's capable of doing this. He's got the speed, right? If they see that mismatch, Marquise Goodwin can break one out at any given time, but he's not consistent. I'm not relying on him for fantasy. And now that bye weeks are gone, I think his fantasy relevancy is a little bit limited.
Yeah. There's only one thing that would have me saying fact on this player. I'm just double checking right now to make sure it's not the case. Yeah. So the only way I would say fact on this player would be if Noah Fant or Will Disley got hurt. If one of those guys got hurt, then he could potentially play a full snap share. But because they use so many 2 tight end sets and they have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, there's no room for him to play all the snaps, right? So, like JL said, this guy's like the flash definition, Olympic speedy guy that can score and make you say, whoa, every once in a while, but he just isn't out there enough. He doesn't play enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I see your average Joe in here saying weekly prayer session for CMC. Yeah, we can get that weekly prayer session going for my league mate, your average Joe.
Of course.
Dear Almighty hamstring God, keep CMC's hamstrings intact for the remainder of the season and preferably the rest of his career. In running back's name, amen. Amen. There we go. We got it. Ill Mind Jedi coming in here. Ill Mind said, I'm out of the playoffs, but my roster is great for next year. You know what? I love coming in here with some optimism, even though that happened. That is fantasy football. You're like, okay, my season's done, but let's get ready for next year. Let's start doing next year's research. So I keep Chase, Mike Evans, Drake London, Rhamondre Stevenson, JK Dobbins, and Javonte Williams. Who should be my last keeper? Should it be Alvin Kamara, Deshaun Watson, or Devonta Smith? Coop, who are you keeping out of those 3 players, the last keeper?
Are there any rules on how long you can keep guys for?
And is this a 1 QB league?
Yeah. 1 QB.
I'm assuming 1 QB.
Yeah. And how long can you keep them for? Like, if you can just keep them forever, then I would rather have Devonta Smith than Alvin Kamara. If it's just like if you can only keep them for 1 year and the next year they go back, then maybe I would keep Kamara. But he's got to remember, he's also probably going to start the season suspended.
Yeah.
Give me Devonta Smith. Even with you, because you're keeping Rhamondre, JK, and Javonte Williams as well. Like, you've got 3 solid running backs. Hopefully Javonte's ready to go at the beginning of the season. That's still to be seen. But I'm rolling Devonta Smith to add to Mike Evans and Drake London as your keepers.
Yep. And he said 1 QB and yes, keep forever. So you're keeping Devonta Smith. That's the better move for sure.
Yeah. Because he's still like what, 24, 25? He just won the Heisman Trophy. He won the Heisman Trophy like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, he's not.
I don't think he's that old even. Yeah. I think he's like 22.
The crazy thing about wide receivers.
24.
The crazy thing about wide receivers is like the age apex for the position is actually like the 26, 27, 28-year-old range. That's where the majority of the super high-end seasons, right? When you go and look at, Antonio Brown was wide receiver 1 in fantasy football 4 years in a row. Like, when these guys like Dez and Demarius really started crushing, it's in that range, right? So he's not even there yet. Like and same with a guy like DJ Moore. That's why like I go out and grab DJ Moore in Dynasty, because like he hasn't even hit that range where we see the best seasons from, right? Travis Kelce didn't have a single 1,000-yard season until he was 27 years old. Now, caveat, when he was 26, he had 900 yards, but he didn't have a 1,000-yard season until he was 27. Now he's had 7 in a row. So pass catchers, some of these guys, they come on later and they last longer than running backs.
Caveat. That's true.
That is true.
I've never had a caveat. I've been to the dentist many times, and not once have I left with a caveat.
Me neither. I also don't eat fish, so.
I went to a fancy party. I was right there with you. I went to a fancy party the other day. They were serving caveat.
Nice. Damn, I scooped your joke. My bad.
All right.
Mr. Scampers in the chat said, "Good night. Love you guys." We love you, Mr. Scampers. He said, "Share a bed with Coop or Fuller from Home Alone."
Oh, he wets the bed.
Yeah, he wets the bed.
He
But
totally
so do I.
So
Scoop.
Fuller is what I was gonna say. I think Fuller's
So
thrown out
Fuller,
of
yeah.
that.
I've always wanted a water bed.
I don't usually wet the bed, but I could do it for you, Scamp.
What a gross thing
Skinwalker.
to say.
But I would do it for you.
What a disgusting thing to say.
I don't usually pee my pants, but for you,
Coop, does your wife ever watch the show?
This show? No, absolutely not. She only watches it when I make her.
Best.
When I'm like, watch what JL and Simon do robot noises. Like I'll
She's like, who?
Yeah, exactly, dude. So I'll throw it on every once in a while. I'll be like, watch these idiots. But beyond that, no, she doesn't.
JHI came in here with a question. Said waiver wire is thin, may need a backup for Higgins. Would you pick up DJ Chark, Nico Collins, Brandon Cooks, or Elijah Moore? Who are we picking up out of those 4 wide receivers?
Easy for me, dude. We are in the midst of a deadly Charknado right now, folks. He has been coming.
You love DJ Shark.
Ah,
That's the tornado siren. That's the Sharknado siren.
That's the Charknado siren, dude. Sound the alarm. I mean, the guy back-to-back 90-yard weeks, dude, playing massive snap share. I know Jameson Williams will, of course, creep up, but I don't think that's going to bring Chark down. I think Chark is pretty set as the split end. Amon-Ra's in the slot, and you're going to get Jameson Williams in the flanker. And there's really no reason for this team. This team doesn't use a fullback, so you don't really have to worry about that. Or if they do, they use them sporadically. But I know that their fullback got hurt really early in the season. And then they don't use or Jason Kabinda, I guess, is the fullback, plays a little bit, but they don't use multiple tight end sets now because they traded Hawkinson. Before they were doing it a decent amount, but now there's no reason to use a ton of tight ends. So I could see them using 3 wide receivers rest of the season.
Here's the only downside for DJ Shark. Well, not the only downside, but a major downside. He's got the Jets, and Carolina, then Chicago the next 3 weeks, which is not fantastic. That's not a fantastic schedule compared to the Houston Texans playing Kansas City, Tennessee, or Jacksonville, or the New York Jets for Elijah Moore going against Detroit, Jacksonville, and then Seattle.
Yes, that is one problem with being the split end, is you're forced to tether your foot to the line. You can't go in motion. A lot of times what teams do is they take their best corner and just say, whoever the split end is, you just go and take him, just because, it's easier to jam coverage, play man jam coverage on a guy that can't go in motion or move. So DJ Chark could get Sauce Gardner pretty hard this week. That's within the range of outcomes, right?
Gonna get covered in that sauce.
So if you're scared about getting all sauced up, slathered up, JL, who do you like out of that group?
I'm trying to decide between Nico Collins and Elijah Moore. Those to me are the two. Nico Collins is dealing with that foot injury.
The other problem with Nico Collins is that he's bad and that his quarterback's bad.
That is true, but he's been making it work at least decently, like somewhat, the last 4 or 5 weeks outside of this past week where he was out because of his foot injury. I think I would go Elijah Moore and then Nico Collins, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, man. Elijah Moore, the problem is he's just not quite playing enough snaps for me.
Yeah,
it's a doghouse, dude. Garrett Wilson played 73 of 74 snaps. Wheels up, my boys.
We get it. Snaps matter, Coop. God, it's always like snap this, snap that.
Snap that. Playing time this. It's like, you can't be on the sideline and make plays. Oh my God. But
God, like we get. I don't even know if it's true. How do you know someone on the bench can't drop that ball out there? I'm with you, Coop. I wanted to buy back into Elijah Moore, but he's just not on the field enough. He's not on the
82%
field
of snaps
enough.
last week, by the way.
That's
For E
solid.
Moore.
That's not
82
and he
for
ran
Elijah Moore.
he ran a bunch of routes too, you know, but he's still
10 targets.
But that's because Corey
It's
Davis,
1 week, so
Corey Davis got hurt. Is Corey Davis out? If Corey Davis is out, then the pick actually might be Elijah Moore. I know Corey Davis left the game. So maybe that
could play week 15.
That could be the deciding factor. If Corey Davis is out, then it's Elijah Moore. And Kevin Tompkins, Nico Collins, the human floor play. If Nico Collins, I'm rooting for him. I have a bunch of dynasty leagues, but if he could get like 20 targets one of these games, he could have like 7 catches.
Yeah, he just needs 20 targets. But he's no Evan Engram, Coop. So I don't think he's going to command that kind of target share.
Last game he got 10 targets. He caught 3 for 35 yards. So you bump that up to 20 or 30, could be a wide receiver too.
Kevin in here saying 92% snaps, 82% routes for Elijah in week 15. Calling a shot, saying Elijah doesn't leave the field.
There it is. Corey Davis doesn't play. That's actually
week 14.
Yeah, Corey Davis doesn't play. That's within the range of outcomes.
Yeah, it looks like those were his numbers from this past week. Yeah, you know what? I didn't realize he was on the field so much in week 14. Didn't feel like it watching that game.
Makes sense.
You know what? Let's go Elijah Moore. Roll those dice, right? Instead of going Chark versus Gardner.
I think I'm still rolling Chark out there. But if Corey Davis, if we get news that he's out for week 15, then I might switch over to Elijah Moore. But if
but he's got to make that decision today.
Yeah,
it's a waiver pickup.
Yeah, so that's probably why I roll with Chark, right? That's probably why I roll with Chark, because I feel comfortable starting him regardless.
Hey, don't sleep on Nico either. Nico's been getting a decent amount of targets.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for him. I like him.
We're rooting for you, Nico. We're rooting for you.
Tootin'.
Guys, the next player, Ben Skowronek, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams, 7 receptions, 89 receiving yards for a banged up team with not many receiving options left. It's Ben, it's Van, or it is Tutu Atwell. Coop, factor flash for Ben.
I kind of want to say fact. I mean, we talked about snaps. He played every single snap. That's pretty cool. And they don't really have a whole lot else, but I don't know. I've started Ben Skowronek in a couple leagues, and sometimes it could be real sad. I don't know, man. I think I'm going to say, since everyone's hurt, I think I could say fact that he can put up that kind of week, you know? Not that impressive, but if you're looking for a guy that can get you 4 or 5 catches, sure.
John Luke, are you agreeing with Coop here? Fact for Ben Skowronek?
No. It's Flash. He's just not – I'm not very excited about Ben Skowronek. Ben Skowronek is actually how you pronounce it. Thank you, Dustin, for that.
Skowronek.
I was trying to see it in my head, the pronunciation chart that he sent to me, and I couldn't see it.
The thing is,
I've been messing that up.
The reason being I say fact, is that he didn't do anything too crazy. Like if he came out and had like 150 yards and a touchdown, I'd be like, yeah, Flash.
It's just at 8 for 8 or 7 for 89 yards.
I don't see why he can't do that with everybody else hurt. He
hasn't been doing it. I think is the bigger thing for me is that he hasn't been commanding 8 targets every week in, week out, and it's not like his situation has changed that much. He's playing against the Raiders this past weekend.
Well, in a lot of those other games, he was only playing like 60% of the snaps because they had, Cooper Kupp, and then he got hurt, but they still had Allen Robinson, but now he's hurt.
Let's go through since week 10. Week 10, he had Arizona 98% snap share.
7 targets.
7 targets, 2 receptions. Week 11, New Orleans, 84% snap share, 4 targets. 63% the next week, 4 targets. 97% snap share the next week, 3 targets. And then this past week, 100% snap share and 8 targets.
So basically what's been happening in jail is they're throwing it over that way. He just ain't catching it.
He's not but also
and then this week
he's averaging like half of the targets that he got this week.
Yeah, you guys are ignoring maybe the biggest factor into why he could be a fact now. They got a new quarterback. Baker Mayfield's the one throwing the ball, and they seem to have a little bit of a connection right there. Say Brett Rippin.
Brett Rippin is not on that team.
Baker, man. Baker
Mayfield seemed to like throwing the ball over Skowronek's way. So I'm gonna say fact
point,
for
Simon.
Ben Skoranek here. He's arguably the top target on this team. If he's playing every snap with these other guys injured and Baker's the one throwing the ball out there with more than 10 minutes to prepare for the next game, I'll throw fact on Ben. I think you can start him in a pinch.
Yeah, perhaps. I still like Van Jefferson better than him. But,
yeah.
Still.
It is what it is. I think that's enough on Ben. The next wide receiver, Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver for the Broncos, 8 receptions, 73 receiving yards, and 3 touchdowns. John Luke, I'm not asking you, is he going to get 3 touchdowns every week? But I am asking you, can you start Jerry Jeudy every week? Is this fact or flash?
I think you can start Jerry Jeudy every week. He's the main, especially with Cortland Sutton out. He's the main option on this team. He's not going to get those 3 touchdowns every week. You got to temper your expectations there, but Jerry Judy's good.
I don't know how good I feel about it if Ross isn't playing, because the team was already pretty bad with Ross. Do you think the backup quarterback's an upgrade? He caught all of them. He got one of them from Brett
Rippin.
Got 2
there
from
we go.
2 from
Second
Russ.
time's the charm.
Got two from Russ, 1 from Brett Rippin. So I don't know. If Russ is in there, I think I'm in. Otherwise, I probably am staying away from all the Broncos. It's already pretty easy just to stay away from all the Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah, staying away over there. Space Frosty came in here, had a question for us. Factor flash, JK Dobbins. So let's hit this one. JK Dobbins against Pittsburgh, 15 attempts, 120 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. Nothing through the air over there for JK Dobbins. But John Luke, factor flash for Mr. Dobbins.
I think it's back for Mr. Dobbins. Barring any sort of injury aggravation, he got 15 carries, 120 yards, 1 touchdown, 43% of snaps. He looked decent, and he's got a great schedule coming up. We mentioned that, I think, yesterday on the show. We got Cleveland, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, all decent matchups for the running back here. So I think they're going to keep feeding him.
And they didn't throw much, but technically he ran the most routes. You know, he ran 8. Kenyon Drake ran 6. Gus Edwards ran 2. I'll take it, especially when he's going to get that many carries. Give me the carries and half the pass work. Plenty, right? That's all you can ask for in this world.
That's all you need. Fact on J.K. Dobbins. Dude's a for real good running back. And hopefully some of the sluggishness or lack of burst that we saw was just a first game back kind of thing and not something that's lingering through the rest of this year. Because I want to see him break one of those runs off for a long touchdown like we know he can do.
He can do it.
He can do it. We had a question in here from Big Mac. Big Mac wants to know, guys, should I start Rashid Shaheed over Hollywood without Kyler Murray? Coop, would you start Rashid Shaheed over Marquise Hollywood Brown with Kyler out?
No, can't do it. Shaheed is fun and exciting, but he's still like more of like he's still a gadget player / kick returner. Give me Hollywood.
Yeah, it's going to be Hollywood for me as well. I understand the concerns, but I'm still going to go with the better player with the more established role on their team. John Luke, you agreeing here? Or are you going Rashid Shaheed?
Completely agree with you guys.
And then Griffin here with a question for us. So sorry if you guys have already answered this. No need to apologize for anything over here, Griffin. Griff said, if Kyler is out for the season, who should I pick up? T-Law?
Pick him up.
It's a great pickup at this point in the season that you can start the rest of the year.
Dude,
yeah, he's still on your waiver.
Not only is Kyler out for the season, but Trevor Lawrence might have been a better quarterback to start in fantasy than Kyler just outright, just straight up. Like, if Kyler was healthy, I might be like, drop him for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has been dope. Trevor Lawrence is like QB8. Like, he's been better. Had been better.
And he's got not the easiest matchups. Cowboys, Jets, and then Texans in the championship week. But this Jaguars offense has looked somewhat competent, and this this Cowboys defense we just saw this past weekend, you can get stuff going against them. The Texans got something going, so maybe we see some shootouts between the Jags and the Cowboys, Jags and Jets. They're able to keep rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Illmind Jedi in here said, hey, Coop, Marcus Jones on the Pats did great for me on my defense. He plays defense, offense, and special teams, put up wide receiver numbers on defense for him.
Yeah, Marcus Jones is electric, man. He's like, I I don't know, dude. He's obviously not Devin Hester, but he plays in all 3 phases, and it's fun. Like, so Marcus Jones, he played 90% of the snaps last night at corner. He was a 3rd-round pick by the Patriots, so highly drafted player. He's also, so this week he played great on defense. The week before last, on his very first offensive play, they put him in on offense. He caught he caught a pass and ran 30 yards for a touchdown against the Bills. The week before that, he was the dude or the week before that was the Vikings. But before that, he was the guy that ran back the punt to win the game against the Jets. When no one could do anything, Marcus Jones came out and was like, I'm going to end this one right now, boys. I mean, the guy's electric, right? A lot of fun to watch as a real-life NFL fan. If you have an IDP league, great, get him in there. I'm just not sure in normal leagues what you do with a guy like that. Because he comes in for 1 snap and scores a touchdown, or he doesn't. He's kind of like Rashid Shaheed almost. Like, he's like a Rashid Shaheed that's even less reliable. Which is a pretty scary player. It's a pretty scary player.
More exciting.
It's a lot of fun.
Whenever you see the like touchdown and the offense is on the field and they pull up the name and it says like CB next to it, or it's got like a non-traditional scoring position, you get a little bit excited. Saran Man in here had a question for us. Want to know, should I start Daniel Jones over Tua? So Tua with a pretty disappointing week. Coop, you making that move?
No,
I'm still rolling Tua out there over and over again.
It's
I know, yeah, and in the snow in 20-degree weather. So I understand. Daniel Jones, I believe they have the Commanders this week. I'm
Also not.
Yeah.
I'm still playing Tua.
Jail, I think you're right. There is a reason to say, let's look at the matchups. But in this case, the matchups put me back on Tua.
Yeah.
Like, let's say, let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say it was Daniel Jones going up against the Lions. Would you guys go Daniel Jones?
Against who?
The Lions? Or the Vikings?
Probably.
The Lions or the Vikings. Like, premier matchups for shootout potential.
He got 24.64 fantasy points last time he played Detroit.
Yeah. And Detroit's, everybody's getting in shootouts with Detroit. It's a good time.
Yeah,
Good
I
time.
think I would.
Detroit's just a good time right now.
Yeah, it's fun.
They got Minnesota next week.
Next week is when you might do something like that. Do something crazy like that.
Tua's fantasy playoff schedule's ugly. Buffalo, Green Bay, New England Patriots.
Yeah, I needed that bad because I have a bet with Ed Rouse that does the Monday Night Rant show on here. The loser has to dress up. I like Tua, but I like making stupid bets better. So if Tua finishes as a top 10 QB, I think it was, or it might be QB1, then I need to wear a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader outfit for a show. If Tua finishes outside that range, then he needs to wear the nurse outfit from the cover of the Blink-182 album. So pretty
on his show, or come on our show.
I don't know. I think we should try and get him on our show because our show we can hold him for longer. I think his show is a little shorter than ours, but yeah, I don't know.
Where's Tua at right now?
I'm gonna try and do it on his show. He's at QB 13.
Right outside of that range. Right outside of that range. Peeking in. Guys, coming up, we are going to play some fantasy feud, and we've got some superlatives to give out today as well. And as always, if you've got questions for us, make sure you throw them in the chat or head on over to the BSN app and hit the call-in button. Come up here, join us, and ask your question live on the show. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt.
Body didn't change.
We'll never know that for sure either.
Nah, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. He made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15. To his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Tim, giving a little context to your bet there with Ed. The bet that you just told us about, Coop, was Tua finishing as a top 10 quarterback. And Tim bringing up Tua didn't play 3 whole games. So is it a points per game basis, or is it just straight up top 10?
Nope, just straight up top 10. And also, it's like, I like Tua. I pretty much invented Tua. But but you have a couple beers during Monday Night Football. You listen to Ed's rants on this channel, which are awesome, dude. It's always a good time. He hangs out during football, and he always does a bunch of bets and sweats them out, which is hilarious. So I enjoy that show. And sometimes you just get a little froggy. You want to make a bet. I would have taken the bet on either side. So, but the funny part is,
was just gonna make the bet. You wanted someone to wear an outfit
because he said he would wear an outfit, and I threw out in the chat the nurse one. And then his mom, much like the moms of this show, was hanging out in that chat too. And I was like, I'll do a bet and I'll let your mom pick the outfit. So she picked the Cowboys outfit. And she was like, not a new Cowboys outfit either. She's like, I want the old timey crop top outfit from the 70s. So, well, quite a bit on the line there. Didn't think it would get that drastic.
I told you guys about how I found like thousands of weird channels just on my TV that came with a Samsung TV. One of them, they've just got an entire channel dedicated to the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team that I scrolled past, and it reminded me, Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is Tim's dog's favorite show. Like, Tim doesn't watch it, but when he's not home, he puts it on for her because she loves watching that show. Jay, I'm sure you know the answer to this question, right?
Yes. I do know that Tim does be on for Guinness. I did not know that the Dallas cheerleaders were her favorite program, though. At least she was watching documentary or something, or movie reviews. That's what it was. I think it's movie reviews when I was there last.
Tim said, "Yep, she watches that all the time. That and Baywatch."
Big Baywatch.
Yeah, I must be a dog too, because I like that programming as well. You dog. You.
Like me and Guinness, not so different. You and I, we are one and the same.
We're just my favorite dog meme of that got that dog in a meme. Did you guys see the Tyler Huntley one?
No.
So Tyler Huntley last week, not this week, but the week before, apparently he had the flu and he couldn't eat anything all day except at halftime. He said he was able to keep down one bite of a hot dog. So in come the got that dog in him hot dog memes all week. Got that. So stupid, but I love
Got that hot dog in him.
Yeah, that hot dog in him. At least a bite. One bite.
As we were about to get into a game we call Fantasy Feud. Before that, I want to remind everybody listening to this that there is a holiday subscription discount through December 25th here on Better Sports Network. For new subscribers, you get a free 90-day trial when you sign up for a monthly subscription. You can hear all of our talk shows and everything on demand, exclusive interviews, features, special events. All you got to do is use the promo code HOLIDAYS when signing up for a monthly subscription on the BSN app, and you're going to get that 90-day trial for free 90 days. That is code HOLIDAYS when you sign up on the BSN app. You guys ready to get into some Fantasy Feud?
Speaking of the BSN app, I just want to throw out there, if you have that app, you can go back and listen to me yesterday on Moose and Keefe. I was popped in their show at 11 o'clock, and I meant to mention to you boys, Keefe, on that show, Keith said that his dream is to be a good singer and to sing the national anthem. So, I told him that if he gets singing lessons, he's welcome to come on our show and open up the show by singing the national anthem at 7 a.m. So we're going to try and we're going to see if we can make that happen. So you might be able to have Keith come on in and open us up with his rendition of America's song.
Coop, remind me to send you a TikTok that I saw yesterday. It was a rendition of the national anthem, just about what the hell, Tom Brady, is all that's going on in the end. It's a full song, and the song is basically, you're Tom Brady. What the hell is going on? Why are you doing this? You're Tom freaking Brady. What the hell, man? Just for like a solid 2 minutes over and over and over again. I'll send it your way. Guys, the game we're about to play, Fantasy Feud, is a game where I'm going to give you guys a category, something like the 5 players with the most receiving touchdowns this year. If you think you know number 1 on the list, buzz in by saying your name. Give me your answer. If you're right, you're going to get to choose whether you want to pass or play that round. Choose to play. You've got 3 strikes to get the rest of the names on the list. If you do it, you're going to get all those points. If you miss any of them, though, and get 3 strikes, your opponent will have an opportunity to steal by giving us 1 name. If it shows up on the list, they're taking all of those points. You can also choose to pass, sending it to your opponent and relying on the steal right there to get it good to go, to steal those points. You guys ready to get in there?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This has been controversial the last few times we've played it.
Well, this list I did not come up with, but related to what we were talking about yesterday, and I put it in here, but I did not generate these rankings. The top 7 states, according to U.S. News and World Report.
Top 7. It's JL.
Okay, JL? California is not on the list of top 7 states, according to U.S. News and World Report.
That's a curveball. I'm gonna try and guess it and make JL play. Massachusetts is not on the list of the top 7 states, according to U.S. News and World Report. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys the factors that they take into account here. Maybe that'll help you a little bit, and then we can start it over. You can buzz in again if you want. Take into account healthcare, education, economy, infrastructure, opportunity, fiscal stability, crime and corrections, and natural environment are all of the categories that it takes into account here. So feel free to buzz in again, round 2, if you guys want to. Coop.
Okay.
All those things are factored in. Let me get Connecticut.
Connecticut is not on the list. JL, if you miss this one, we're going to move on from this prompt.
Let's go with Rhode Island. Nope, let's go with Maine.
Maine is not on
Thank
this
God
list.
You this I swear. Let me weigh in here. These lists, I swear to God, are these sites trying to sell you on states that are whack or up and coming. You know what I mean? They're like, why don't you move to Alaska? Like they're 100% these lists. It's probably gonna be like North Dakota and one of those any of those weird states that have a direction in them. North Dakota and North Carolina. Give me what's on the list.
West Virginia, South Dakota. I'll give you guys the list. We had some guesses in the chat as well. Jay guessed blue. Dustin said new. Jay said, Blue Carolina, you guys are jackasses. And Illmind Jedi said Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas as their answers right here. Well, the top 7 states, according to U.S. News and World Report.
We just get them? We just bonked out of that category?
You're bonked out of this category. We're going to move on past it. We've got Washington at number 1, Minnesota at number 2, Utah at number 3, New Hampshire at number 4, Idaho at number 5, Nebraska at number 6, and Virginia at number 7. Those
Idaho,
are the top
bro.
7 states.
Idaho. That's
No,
the top
Idaho.
7 state.
Idaho and
Idaho's the top
Nebraska.
5 state. Get out of here, dude. Get
Nice
out
try.
of here.
Nice try.
States.
I ain't never
No
met a single person from
shit.
Idaho.
Yeah, not even real, bro. Not even
I know
real.
someone who
wasn't there,
moved to Idaho.
wasn't there
Mr. Scampers woke up just to tell us Little Mexico.
the only go back to bed, Scamp.
Little Mexico College.
The only thing I've heard out of Idaho in the last like month or two is that there was a quadruple homicide at the University of Idaho.
The only thing.
That's the only thing I've heard going on over there. Forget that.
I have looked up, if you Zillow Boise, be shocked by the prices of those homes.
$3.
I guess maybe because it's like the only city and people are in the pandemic, people were moving to like Idaho because you could work from anywhere. It is so unbelievably expensive to buy a home in Boise, Idaho. Like shockingly expensive.
Pass. The equivalent of you know how the whole blue controversy with Gatorade, that's like in this one, you just guess Carolina. you just get them all.
South.
Coop, if you give Dustin more ammunition to fight against fantasy feud categories, I'm going to fight you.
I just like the Midwest, the Rust Belt.
New England.
Yeah.
New England's the best state. Well, guys, let's move on to our next. Let's move on to our next category. Hopefully this one goes a little bit better. Here's what I want to know. The first 6 running backs drafted in the 2022 NFL draft.
JL.
Okay, JL.
Oh, I got in there first. The cuss sound. Roll back the tape. Roll back. It's me on YouTube.
I heard JL first.
I want to go with Breece Hall.
Breece Hall was number 1 on this list, JL. Would you like to pass or play this category? Can you name the top 6 running backs drafted?
I will play.
Okay.
Oh, man. For a second there, I couldn't remember a single rookie running back, which is not good.
There are some.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker's number 2 on the list, JL. 2 for 2. What's next?
Let's go with
Da, na, 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 na,
Deep
na.
bonk.
Yeah,
Carolina.
I'm gonna bonk you if you take too long.
Blue.
Let's go with Damien Pierce.
Damien Pierce. I am sorry, John Luke was not in the top 7 running backs drafted. He was was not in the top 6 running backs drafted. He was number 7. So he was number 7. Had this been top 7, you would have gotten it.
Right,
One
one
bonk.
Important info, though. You know, that kind of tells you where to draw that line.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess.
Very excited, JL is by this
let's
revelation
go with,
of info.
Let's go with Rashad. No, let's go with James Cook.
James Cook, John Luke, was number 3 on this list, the 3rd running back drafted in the 2022 NFL draft.
Okay.
You got 1 strike, 3 names left, the top 3 off the board.
Isaiah Spiller.
Isaiah Spiller was not one of the top 6 running backs drafted. He was number 9. Number 9 for Isaiah Spiller.
Oh, not good, JL. Not good. Let's go with Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson was number 6 on this list. So you got number 6, 2 strikes. You're missing numbers 4 and 5, JL.
4 and 5. Let's go with Tyler Algier.
Tyler Algier is not in the top 6, JL. A little ways down there. Number 12 was Tyler Algier.
Oh,
so you got 4 of them. Numbers 4 and 5 are sitting there, Coop. If you can name either one of those, the names taken already are Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, James Cook, and Brian Robinson. JL also guessed Tyler Algier and Isaiah Spiller, I believe, was the other one you guessed, right?
You said this name, Jail, but then you didn't officially say it. I know Damian Pierce was a 4th round pick, and I'm pretty sure Rashad White was a 3rd round pick, which would make him on the list.
Rashad White is number 4 on the list. Jail, I was kicking myself, trying to kick you under the table after you said it and then didn't answer it.
You like said it, and then you just like put it back in the folder, and you're just like, let me just file that away. The other one Pierre Strong Jr.?
It was not. It was TDP, Tyrion Davis Price.
That would have been tough to get.
Yeah, I wouldn't have got it with one guess. I would have needed some bonks. Some bonks, I might have made it.
Who in the chat got that? Dustin got Cook, White, TDP, and Brian Robinson down there. Nice guesses.
He good.
Pulling that one out. Brian Robinson was 6 on that list. JL got that one. So, Coop, you're going to get 5 points stolen from JL in that round. It is now 5-2.
I don't know if I would have got Brian Robinson. He might have escaped me there. That was the one that when JL said that, I was like, ooh.
That was a good one.
Good pull.
Dang,
you earned an extra point for Coop with that one, JL.
Yeah.
Where was Damian Pierce drafted?
He's right after Brian Robinson. So he was
7.
He was 7.
Dang, I almost went with him.
That's why I was like, so when you said that, I was like, that's important info because Damian Pierce. And then you're like, okay, now I'm thinking 4th round or higher, right?
4th round or higher. Yeah. Damian Pierce in there at 7, pick 107 in the 4th round. He was the first running back taken in the 4th round. Some of the other names, like in between the names you guessed, Zamir White was also a 4th round back. But outside of that top 6, Pierre Strong, also a 4th round back, and Hassan Haskins, also a 4th round back. So those are those 4th round guys.
So bad.
In May, I would have been like, I could have rattled off top 12. And then now I'm like, Hassan Haskins doesn't even exist anymore.
I almost, when I was putting this together, I was like, oh yeah, Breece Hall. Like it's just been so long this season, I feel like, that Breece Hall. Dude, I can't wait for him to come back because he was looking exciting whenever he was out there on the field. I can't wait for some Breece Hall next year.
I was
Bam.
Trying, in one of my dynasty leagues, I'm contending on one of the top teams here, and I was so close to making like a win now move with Breece Hall. Which, if you know me, you know I don't typically like to make a ton of win now moves, especially like over leverage my team for a single season. But I was close. I just couldn't do it. I just love Breece Hall too much. Yeah. It's too hard.
It's so weird. Like the Jets trading for James Robinson looks so weird now because Michael Carter still looks good, right? Zonovan Knight looks awesome. They have Breece Hall. I don't know. Seems kind of crazy they would also trade for James Robinson and then just not use him.
Who was it that brought up a couple weeks ago? Was it you, Coop, about how it makes sense as like a cheap replacement because the incentives. They have an incentives on the right
exactly. So if they don't play him, then the pick is like free, right?
Right.
So, yeah, and then if somebody else signs him, then you get the comp pick too. So yeah, they're gonna get him. They get him for pretty much free, but still kind of weird.
Well, Coop, you've got a 5-0 lead in this game now. Are you guys ready for our next round?
Yeah.
Here we go. Here is your next category. The 5 teams with the biggest percentage of their cap on the injured reserve list.
I'll go Coop. I'll try this one.
Okay.
Okay. The biggest percentage of the cap on the IR. Number 1, it's got to be.
What you thinking?
The Los Angeles Rams.
Damn it.
The Los Angeles Rams are number 1 on this list with 28.67% of their cap on the injured reserve list. You like to pass or play, Coop?
I'm going to pass the JL.
Okay, JL. You're getting to play this one. Coop passed it to you. Number 1 is gone. There's 4 teams left.
You got
the Rams
it,
were number 1 on the list. We're looking for the 5 teams with the biggest percentage of their cap on the injured reserve list. What are you thinking?
I believe
Let's go with the 49ers.
Ooh, that's
the 49ers are not on this list. Not in the top 5, JL.
Is Jimmy G not on IR? Oh, maybe they didn't put him on IR.
I don't think they did.
Dude, now you got to. That's just another level of thinking that needs to be done.
Yeah, this is tough.
That's why I passed.
Let's go. Yeah, thank you for that.
Got it, buddy.
Let's go with let's go with the Denver Broncos.
The Denver Broncos are number 2 on this list at 27.06%. John Luke, you got the second highest one. What you thinking next?
Next, I'm thinking, who's got a quarterback that's out? Who's got a quarterback that's out? Everybody has their quarterbacks.
That was that's my only thought when I was picking mine.
Yeah, this is tough. Let's go with the Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals are number 4 on this list at 22.08%. So, JL, you've got numbers 1, 2, and 4. You've got no strikes.
Damn.
Honestly,
Cardinals,
strike, right?
Cardinals might move to 1 when they put Kyler Murray on IR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
surely.
they'll probably bounce up.
Dustin saying Rams in the chat. Rams is correct. Coop got that one at number 1.
Doesn't he have 1? He said you said the 49ers got a strike.
That's right.
Oh,
you
I
got
did
1
say
strike.
49ers.
You got 1 strike.
All right. One strike.
Strike force.
Let's go with okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, while you're thinking, I have all these little scraps of paper on my desk all the time, and sometimes the things written on them, I just like get confused. Like this one says P in it, underlined. At some point, that was necessary to write down. Forgetting why I wrote P in it on a piece of paper. But
P in it.
Does that help you come up with your answer, JL?
No, it doesn't. Let's go with Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay is not on this list, not number 3 or 5 on this list. That is 2 bonks, JL. You got 1 more bonk, 2 more answers left. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm screwed. Oh man. Let's go with the Chargers.
The Chargers, JL, are number 3 on this list. 24.63%. You have now gotten 4 out of 5. There is 1 team left, the 5th team. If you get this, you're going to tie Coop up. If you get it wrong, you'll have an opportunity to steal.
I thought you said 4. I thought I was done. Damn it.
Wow.
All right, it's the last team. I'm going to F this up. I'm going to go with Shoot, let's go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are incorrect. Coop, you have a chance to steal here. What's it going to be? 1 guess, 1 team left. Get it right, you get the points. Get it wrong, jail wins.
I could be the Pittsburgh Point Steelers right here. Thanks, folks. I'll be here all week. I will guess. I know, dude. Von Miller got a big contract. Is he on the IR yet? I want to guess that he is. I want to say the Bills.
The Bills, Coop, are incorrect. The Tennessee Titans are sitting there at number 5,
Really?
17.82% of their cap on the IR. So it is the Titans. I do not know where 6, 7, and 8 are. But I know 1 through 5.
The Titans, you said?
I can't even name one expensive player on the Titans that's on IR.
No.
Traylon Burke.
That's why I didn't go with them.
He's not even on IR.
But he's also not a big cap hit, probably.
Right. Yeah, he's a rookie deal. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
Maybe just lots of smaller pieces.
First of all, boo.
Lots of smaller pieces. Well, JL, you get those points. It is now 4-5. 1 more round to determine the winner right here. Here is your last prompt. The 5 NFL players with the biggest social media following, past or current.
JL.
That was, you guys were at the same exact time right there. I heard both of you simultaneously. Coop, we'll give you the tiebreaker.
Give it to the guy in lead.
Tom Brady. I'm going to lead by 1 point, bro.
That's a lead scoreboard, bro.
Well, Tom Brady is number 2 on this list. So, JL, you can choose if you would like to try to take a guess, a stab at number 1 to be able to play this one.
Can you read
instead
the
of Coop.
prompt one more time?
Yes. The top 5 NFL players with the biggest social media following, past or current players.
Past or current players. Let's go with Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers is not in the top 5. Coop, would you like to pass or play?
I'll play this one. Can't pass them all. Past or current. That means there's somebody that has more. And social media is just like what they add up all their followers from Instagram and all over the place.
Yep.
That's tough, dude. That's tough. Let me get does Shannon Sharp have a lot of followers?
I'm sure he does, but he's not on this list. Not in the top 5.
Not in the top 5. This is a tough one, dude. I don't know why. I should have probably passed this one.
I didn't tell you, but I meant to tell you, Tom Brady, 9.5 million followers, sitting there at number 2. 9.5 million followers across social platforms.
Also now his net worth.
That's quite a few people.
You got one strike, Coop. What you thinking?
Who has a lot of followers?
I will bonk you so hard.
No. Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning is not on this list, Coop. No Peyton Manning.
Damn. I'm trying to think who has a big social media presence.
That is the prompt.
2 strikes. 2 strikes, Coop. One more strike. And then it all comes down to JL. If you get this wrong, JL will have one guess to win the game. And if he gets it wrong, he will lose the game. But first, you got a shot right here.
Let me see.
I'll give you 5 more seconds. Talk us through what you're thinking. Who are you? What are you considering?
I'm trying to think of announcers, like announcers that used to play football, right? I feel like those accounts, a lot of, or like just like people that are more like on the media, like are more on like the media side of things now that might have information.
Okay, now I mean it. You got 5 seconds, and then I'm gonna bonk you.
All right, let me say Odell Beckham Jr.
Odell Beckham Jr. is number 1 on this list with 14.3 million followers. Coop, you got that one right. What's next? 2 strikes still.
He does a lot of social media-ing. Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman is not on this list. I'm sorry, Coop. That is your 3rd strike. JL, this is for the win. If this player's on here, you win. If this player's not on here, you lose. What's it going to be?
I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes. He's number 5 on this list with 4.5 million followers, JL. Going to bring you to 7 points with the last second victory, swooping in and stealing it from Coop. Nice victory, my friend. The other 2 on the list were Russell Wilson at number 3 and Cam Newton at number 4.
Cam Newton
at number 4.
Wow. Good job, dude. Mahomes.
Some good guesses in the chat.
Mr. Scamper said, OJ, we had Mahomes, Strahan, and OBJ from Tim. Got both of those with Mahomes and OBJ. Joey said Pierre Strong. I'm guessing for a different question entirely.
Pat McAfee, such good guess.
Pat
Tommy.
McAfee, dude. Yeah. And Tommy in the chat just rooting for me to get bonked. Now that I've opened the chat up. Rob Bonkowski. How's Pat McAfee not like the top, dude?
He's more recently up and coming, though. His celebrity status is.
What does Odell do besides just post pictures of watches and hot chicks, though? I guess
social media for you, yeah.
I was about to say, I think that's a lot of people's entire social media experience. That's all they see over and over again. Guys, coming up, we are going to give away some superlatives. And as always, we're answering your questions. So if you've got them, throw them in the chat. We'll be more than happy to answer any and all fantasy or non-fantasy questions that you throw our way. Right now, you're listening to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We can roll right into our
AutoZone with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was clean, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt. We'll never know that for sure either.
No, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
I just get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The 1 year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, was there besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he'd finished with. So no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame though that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that. All those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15. To his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Better Sports Network. It's sports talk done better.
Welcome back in, everyone, to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. We are about to get into a game we call Superlatives. We are handing out superlatives. Think like a high school yearbook superlatives. Most likely to succeed, best dressed, different categories, and we're going to hand them out to NFL players, coaches, or I guess people around the NFL. If you want to get creative, I'm not going to poo-poo on your superlative there. John Luke, I think you were the one running the votes for these, right? You were in charge of the yearbook, the FYF yearbook.
Yes, I am editor of the FYF yearbook. We get into our superlatives. So, without further ado, guys, who is the most likely to miss their flight pooping?
I got one for that.
Tell us.
Based on recent events, dude, it's got to be Odell Beckham Jr. Right? Like, he couldn't even handle actually being on the flight and making it work, dude. If he can fall asleep in his seat on the flight and not wake up to the point where they have to kick his ass off, I could definitely see him going to take a poop and just falling asleep in there.
I like that one. Coop. We're going with OBJ, most likely to miss their flight pooping. I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. Because he just can't do anything right. And he's got all those bathrooms, so he clearly poops a lot.
Yeah, he does have quite a few bathrooms.
Quite a few bathrooms.
Do you think when he has to go to the bathroom, he does a little bit of it in each one?
Yeah, I think he waddles from one to the other.
Russell Wilson just waddling around, pinching it, penguin waddling around the house. There's no toilet paper, one bathroom. Got to find your way to the next. The obvious answer. There's only one player recently that we've watched miss game time due to pooping in the middle of a game, and that was Lamar Jackson. But here's what I'm thinking. That was where my mind went immediately. He's learned his lesson. He knows now to time his shrimp Alfredo. Know what I mean? Like if he's got a flight, he's gonna be like, "Oh, this is gonna be like that game against the Colts. I'm not eating this shrimp Alfredo right now." So he's learned his lesson. Who I think it is is a man who lives in a dairy-heavy state who swore off of dairy back in 2016, said he was no longer eating it. Aaron Rodgers says he no longer eats dairy, but he lives in Wisconsin, the dairy state. They eat more cheese in Wisconsin than any other state in the United States. He's sitting there at the airport getting ready for his flight, and he looks at the menu. There's all these cheese boards, these fondues, the fried cheese curds, and he can't help it. So he eats a bunch of them. Dude hasn't had dairy in 6 years, runs to the bathroom, fully misses his flight. Fully misses his flight.
Damn, that was a pretty disgusting narrative you just painted, my boy. Just all cheesed up, dude.
He's so cheesed up.
It's Aaron Rodgers. He can't contain himself. He's just like sweat. He's like, I need cheese. And he just dabbles in the devil's work once again. Could happen.
He orders like a salad and some chicken tenders, and then it comes out and he just throws it on the ground and says, "Bring me the cheese.
Bring me the cheese.
Bring me the cheese." Dustin saying,
like,
why shrimp Alfredo?
I didn't make that up. Lamar Jackson said that's his favorite pregame meal is shrimp Alfredo. He loves some shrimp Alfredo.
No wonder that guy's pooping his pants, dude. Like, dude.
Who did I go with? Why can't I remember?
You
My
went with
brain is
Russell
so
Wilson.
Russell
You went with
Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. We got OBJ, and we got Simons was Lamar Jackson.
No, it was Aaron Rodgers. Lamar has pooped his last pants. As
I'm into
Tim
like
said.
5 guys. Yeah, he's pooped his.
Yeah, he
last
said a bunch of names, confused me. I'm like a deer in headlights.
Yeah, 2 names. Sorry about that.
All right, let's get on to our next superlative. Most likely to miss their flight pooping. Well done, guys. Let's get into our next one here. Most likely to forget to wash their hands in the bathroom. Similar vein here.
Gross.
Most likely to forget to wash their hands. I mean, just based on like the way I perceive these guys, dude. Whenever I see, and this player is amazing, dude. And I don't know him personally, but whenever I see Creed Humphrey, I just picture that dude just being like a snot blowing, just a mean, just a rugged, mean offensive lineman center. Maybe one of the best linemen in the league. But every time I see Creed Humphrey, I'm like, that dude does not wash his hands.
Not a chance in hell.
His chance were dirty on the way in, right? Like, so yeah, Creed Humphrey's my pick for that one.
I'm gonna go with Cole Beasley. Does not wash his hands, and it's not that he forgot. It's out of principle. He is anti-big soap. It's a scam. Cole Beasley believes big soap is out to take over the nation, and his next rap album is going to be all about not washing your hands to take down big soap. Cole Beasley. He didn't forget, but he's not washing his hands ever.
Anything Anthony Fauci told him to do, he just refuses to do it. So he's like, wash your hands. Beasley's like, no.
Nope.
That's a good one. I like that one.
That is a good one. I'm going to go with Steve Belichick. I don't think that dude washes anything.
No chance.
Especially not his hands. I think he is over it.
He owned that dude. I tell you, when you look at that, he looks like a dude that only cuts his hair when it starts to like get in his eyes or like tickle his ears. And he just does it like without looking. He just like, oh, I got hair in front of my face. It goes like this. You know what I mean? Like that's Steve Belichick.
Doesn't
he
he
just
easily on that Will
clean.
Smith train of not washing after just peeing?
Gross.
Will
that a Will
Smith
Smith
on that?
thing? That's questionable.
It makes that slap even grosser. If like, because he used the restroom there was alcohol at that event. He went up there. He had pee hands when he slapped Chris Rock.
No.
Slapped him with pee hands.
It was a pee slap from Will Smith. Man,
not again.
The only time that is okay to not wash your hands after peeing is if you're in like a truck stop bathroom and it is like touching the knob to turn the sink on would be way grosser than touching your own penis. No, like at that point, like where you're like, that is disgusting to even like, it's just get in and out. Every second you spend in there is a risk to your health. Like you've been in restrooms before where you're like, every second I spend in here is a danger to me. It's so dirty.
I'll give you an example.
Immediately go buy hand sanitizer.
I'll give you an example of when it's okay. What if you're camping and you're just out in the woods and you pee outside?
You shouldn't be camping.
You should not. Maybe have camping for idiots.
Yeah.
I think if you do a quick pee outside and you're very careful, I think you're okay.
All right,
Jail,
guys.
Who was your player again, Jail?
Mine was Steve Belichick. It wasn't a player. It was just a coach. Yeah.
You somehow found somebody grosser than Creed Humphrey. Congratulations.
He is straight up just licking his hands clean in the bathroom. Steve Belichick after he pees.
I can see it.
All right, guys, let's get into our next superlative. And a reminder in the chat, throw in your fantasy questions. That's what we are here for. We're here answering all of your questions to the top of the hour, talking fantasy football, doing superlatives. Next superlative is most gullible.
Do I go first again?
If you got one, you can jump in.
Yeah, I do. Well, I have my criteria. Let me find the best person for it.
Man, there's a couple different.
I got it. Tavon Austin. Tavon Austin. Not only did he get a 7 on the Wonderlic, whereas when you go on the Wonderlic website, it basically says that if you can read, you should be able to get at least an 11. Right? He got a 7, but his rookie year, after the season, reporters were like, "Hey, what happened, man? Like, well, how come you didn't really do anything?" He goes, "The playbook looked like Spanish to me." That's what he told the reporters, dude. So I feel like that particular player, you could probably tell that dude just about anything, and he'd be like, "Yeah, I believe it." Probably not that hard to trick a guy that got a 7 on a test where you get a point if you write your name.
Yeah.
All right, Tavon Austin. Simon, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Allen Robinson as the most gullible player in the league. And you know what he fell for? He fell for Blake Bortles' magic, meaning that he was a top-tier NFL wide receiver. He had 14 touchdowns with Blake Bortles, then all he needed was a good quarterback after that to be good again, right? He was waiting for it. We were waiting for it. We fell for it. He was waiting for it too. He believed. He said, okay, give me in Chicago. I'm going to make it work there. I'm going to make it work there. Didn't work. Give me in LA. Okay, now I got Matthew Stafford. I'm going to make it work there. I'm going to make it work there. I think he's still buying into it, that he's going to come back and he's going to kill it. You're not going to kill it, Allen Robinson. I'm sorry. That Blake Bortles magic is left in Jacksonville. You're gullible. You're falling for it over and over again.
Over and over again. I'm going to go with another player here. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers. Most gullible. Yeah.
Pretty gullible.
Bit on the nose, but yeah.
No.
I mean, if you eat clay, you're probably gullible.
You're probably gullible.
For any reason besides I like the taste of clay. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's your reason, you're weird. But hey, you could be on My Strange Addiction in a couple of years whenever it starts wreaking havoc on your body. But if you're doing it because like someone told you to, then
if you're a hot chick, you could probably sell that dude some crystals. Like, no question.
You probably saw. I was gonna say if you have like a single layer of logic, I feel like that's enough to get Aaron Rodgers. But you're absolutely right. Or you're a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Tim said Jamal Williams is so kind and genuine that I could see him being gullible.
Oh, that's sad.
Go on a different route there.
He's so sweet. He's so sweet.
I don't think anyone would take advantage of him because he's so nice.
He's an angel. And Tim, how
we've all met those people though, right? Where like whatever you tell them, they'll believe you, and like very quickly, it's not funny anymore. You're like, no, I'm just messing with you.
Bro,
like I'm just kidding.
Stop believing me.
100% my wife's best friend. She's like, she is the sweetest, but like all her friends, including John and Pemba, like will mess with her and just like tell her stuff, and she'll be like, really? Like her answer's always really, and then we're like, no. Like every time without fail, but she's just so sweet. She's like, really? And we're like, no,
absolutely not.
No, I just made that up. Every last word of it.
Every time.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get into our next one. Biggest flirt.
Ooh, I feel like we got some real flirts in the NFL.
Definitely. Oh, so this one, there's multiple instances of why I would say that it's Stephon Diggs. Right. So one of them is that there was a thing where Stephon Diggs himself.
You little ass.
Were you going to fix Diggs?
It's already written down. It's already in the table. I got Stephon Diggs right there. Now I got to delete him.
There's a table?
No, it's a good pick.
Where's
that's why.
Where's there a table? Oh, yeah. There is.
Never mind. Go ahead. Stephon Diggs.
Dude, now let's talk more about the table for 5 minutes instead. How about
I didn't even know there. Since when is there a table? Now I do find the table. So okay, but I'm picking Stephon Diggs because I go first. Going first is hard. Stephon Diggs, at one point he broke up with his Instagram model girlfriend, quote unquote, because he liked to keep his options open while he's on the road. And the other thing that I saw, is that they did this like a thing where they walked around the Vikings locker room and they were asking everybody all these different questions, superlatives, just like this, right? And Jail, you saw it. They were like, which is the last person you'd want to date your daughter? There are all these different questions. Everyone's given all these different answers. Yeah. Everyone's given all these different answers for all the questions. but every single person in the locker room picks Stephon Diggs as the person they would not want to date their sister. That to me is a red flag. But JL, why were you going to pick Stephon Diggs for this one?
Because he's a big flirt.
You know it.
Always has been. Always will be.
Well, sorry, I stole yours. I will.
That's okay.
I will respect the table. There's nothing else. There's nothing even written in the table. I didn't even know there was.
I'm messing with you. Go ahead. Simon, who's yours?
It's got to be. You left it there for me to take. It's got to be Zach Wilson. When he's not pouting, he's flirting. He's flirting. He's prepping for his time on MILF Island, where he's going to be able to go out there, flirt with all the moms. You know, that dude hasn't paid for a drink since he was 21 years old. He's just gone into bars and flirted with moms, and that's how he's gotten his drinks. And now it's a reality check. He's realizing that football players you can't just flirt with the same way that you flirt with a mom. They're not buying it, Zach. You got to learn another skill.
It's just not the same. It's not the same.
It's not the same. Also, Pat said, is Zach Wilson 21? Barely
21. Absolutely. Yeah, barely 21. I'm going to go with Travis Kelce. I feel like that guy is a big old flirt.
Yeah.
And I think he's in a long-term relationship, but if he wasn't, he'd be flirting.
Hey, and sometimes people like a flirt doesn't always have to be like, there's not like always like sexual connotation attached to it. Some people are just flirty.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like in all of their interactions, whether they're married or not, like some people are just flirty people. That's how they interact.
Just a charmer.
That's very true.
And I could see Kelce being that way. The other one I was going to say, we have to bring up Ani Coop's favorite player, Darren Waller. With that smile, he just walks up and smiles. And that dude, like, you know, he could charm the socks off of anybody.
We never met him, but he's flirted with Simon just in his pictures.
Yeah, it's just completely one-sided.
He keeps flirting with me.
He just flirts with me over and over. Stop it.
It's
Darren.
not even one-sided though, Jail, because we kind of flirt back with him on the show. He hasn't seen it, but you know what I mean? Like we're trying, not for lack of effort. It's just it hasn't reached to me.
They haven't reached him for whatever reason.
He'll get to it. He's not responding to any of my letters.
Simon, who did you pick again?
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson, that's right. Also, good morning, Pat. What up?
What up, Pat?
Let's get into our next superlative here. Biggest prankster.
Ooh. Oh, I bet there's a lot of good pranksters. You know who I'm going to go with? I got one right off the bat. I'm going to go with a head coach. I'm going to go with Miami Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel loves a prank. You know, he's hiding behind the door in the locker room. And as Jeff Wilson walks in, he goes, ah! And then Jeff jumps. He's like, oh, gotcha. Nice shot. Like just the things he says on the sideline to these players show that he's like goofy and has that in him. It's all harmless, fun little pranks. It's jumping out and scaring you. It's putting a little bit of tape on the sink sprayer. So whenever you turn it on, it sprays you. But dude's a goof and a gaff.
And he's got to have that. He's got to have that. And you can see it in him, that sweetness where you're like annoyed, but you can't get mad at him, right? Because some people it's easy to get mad at. I think he could get away with pranking. He could get away with some pranking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I so badly want to say Russell Wilson here, just because I want that to be true. Yeah. Like I want the narrative that Russell Wilson just completely pulls pranks at just like completely inappropriate situations. Everyone's mad that he keeps losing. He's just like, haha, gotcha.
I was picturing it more as like he's like, people are just eating their sandwiches and he's like cracking up in the corner. And they're like, what's so funny, Russ? He's like, I replaced the mayonnaise with light mayonnaise. And he's like dying laughing and nobody cares.
His pranks would be like that. Like the can of Pringles where the snake pops out. Like just the lamest pranks, dude.
Yeah, Jay in here is saying Russell Wilson pulls pranks that would have been funny in the 80s. He's walking around like, does anyone want a piece of gum? It is my last piece of gum. And it's like,
come on, Russell. We know that's shot gum.
Yes, yeah. After every game
it's
at
not
halftime,
shot gum this time.
Every game at halftime, they're losing by 4 touchdowns, and he's like, and somebody has to go to him and be like, "No, I'm not pulling your finger, Russ." Like,
he's got one of those buzzers in his hand. He's like, "Hey, man, good game."
Squirt the little flower.
Son's like, "Dude, I'm not shaking your hand again. I know you're trying to buzz me."
Yeah, smell my flower in my pocket.
There was a store near me growing up that specialized in only those things. It was called Eddie's Trick Shop. And they just had
stores, Simon.
They just had tricks.
Them.
We would beg to go to Eddie's Trick Shop. Like they would have like juggling balls and masks, and then all these just like pranks, like fake dog poop, gunshot, like whole stickers that you can put on a window, like whatever you wanted prank wise, they had it at Eddie's Trick Shop.
I like that.
Eddie got you covered. Scott Fish said George Kittle. That's a good one.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
And Tim said Christian Wilkins, but McDaniel was a great pick. Yeah, Christian Wilkins did come to mind. I'm actually going to go in a similar vein here. I'm going to go Bradley Chubb. He is.
I know why you're saying that.
Yeah.
I know why you're thinking that, Jay. I can specifically remember the NC State Clemson game that you're thinking of, I think.
Yeah, where he used to pull the towel out of who's a Kelly Bryant's
Over.
It was his like back towel or something.
Yeah.
He used to just pull it out whenever he wasn't looking. They had to tell him to stop. Kelly Bryant got mad.
He did it like 5 times during the game. Like every time Kelly Bryant had his back to Bradley Chubb, he would just go up and rip the towel out just over
leave it
and
on
over
the
and over again.
That's hilarious though. That's
was pretty
objectively
awesome.
hilarious move. Yeah.
Yeah. We were sitting
was
on the
pretty
other
funny.
side of that game, but I was cracking up as well. Jail, I like that pick.
Yeah. It's a
I
good
like
pick.
that pick. Get those 3 in a room.
For
Also,
mine-
Scott said, I like the idea that Russ Wilson's teammates do crap to him intending to be mean, and he thinks they love him, and it's all pranks.
it's just like they just like take his like laptop and throw it in the trash, and he's like, "Oh, you guys keep pranking me."
Stop. Yeah.
There's like written in red paint on his locker, "Go back to Seattle,"
Right.
and he's just like,
It's like, no,
Another good one, boys. Another good
you.
one.
Another good one. Got
Also,
me in.
I see
Tim
you
said,
Cortland Sutton is begging to be traded, and Russ is like, another good prank.
Coop, who did
You're
you
with
say
me
for your
forever.
prankster?
I didn't. You guys cut the line,
Oh.
so I didn't get to go. But my
Tim
prank.
and- Go ahead.
I'll just say my prankster is Deshaun Jackson because he keeps tricking all these teams into giving him money, and then he plays like 3 snaps. he's pulled that prank like 4 years in a row now. It seems to keep working.
Gotcha.
Got him.
Got him.
Also, Tim in here, we were talking Bradley Chubb, Christian Wilkins, and Mike McDaniel, and Tim said, get those 3 in a room. They are.
Oh, wait.
3 of the 4 players we brought up are on the Dolphins. So I guess the Dolphins are the most likely to
See,
prank
that's why they're a fun
NFL team.
team.
Silly. They're just getting silly over there.
They have so many fun players on the Dolphins because I feel like Jalen Waddle's probably in the top 10 on this list, even though we didn't bring him up here. If you're doing a Penguin
prankster.
Waddle in the end zone, you got some mischief in you somewhere.
Yeah, you got some prankster in you for sure.
I imagine Tyreek Hill's pranks are over the top.
It goes way too far every time.
Way too far. I'm like, Tyreek, that's a felony.
Let's move on to our next superlative here. Best listener. Best listener.
You know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with a player who has chickens and enjoys the slower pace of life, enjoys poetry, wears glasses, brings all of this up. The glasses are an important part here for listening. Von Miller is going to be my player as the best listener. I feel like Von Miller would sit you down. There'd be a comfort in sitting with him and talking to him. And he would just be sitting there, maybe like standing there outside in his yard, feeding his chickens, throwing the seed around and just listening quietly, not applying pressure for you to give more than you wanted to give. And he's going to listen. And then there's like a comfort in the strength that Von Miller represents, but also the vulnerability and just doing what he likes and listening to you.
I like that. Von Miller would be delightful to be listened to.
Can I do an ex NFL player for mine?
Yeah.
Or does it have to be active? JL.
You can do ex
keeper of the rules, JL. Is that allowed?
You could do ex NFL player.
So the thing is, I had a player in mind, but you actually kind of just described that exact player down to the glasses. So I can't current player.
I think, yeah.
So I can't do current. I can't do
player?
Matthew Slater. I can't do Matthew Slater, who I was going to say, but a guy that I think is probably a great listener is Andrew Luck. I imagine Andrew Luck. Sit down with the book club. He would just listen to all your problems, give
Have
you
plenty of time to listen.
Plenty of time to hang out and listen. I imagine he gets up early in the morning and go reads that book outside, So I imagine he would be a great listener and he would give you a very comforting hug at the end.
It's a good one. I like that one. Oh, man, now that you've opened up the door to former players, I want to go Ryan Clark, but I'm going to keep it to my original guy here. I'm going to go J.J. Watt.
Ooh.
J.J. Watt, probably an excellent listener. He just seems like a good dude all around.
JJ Watt. He does seem like a good dude. I thought you were going to go Larry Fitzgerald, JL, as best listener because I know your love for him,
That's a
and
good one.
he's
That's a
got
good
like that gentle spirit as well, right? Where like he doesn't come across like aggressive or like he's going to talk over you. I was certain that's where Coop was going whenever he said I described that player down to the glasses, because we've seen Larry rock some glasses.
We have seen Larry rock the glasses. Who do you think
We've
the
seen him rock
worst?
them
Who do you think the worst listener is, and why is it Antonio Brown? Like if I had problems, the worst person the very last person I'd be like, hey Antonio, can I run something by you?
Yeah,
no chance, dude.
Jerry Jones is probably also a terrible listener. Because
Great
can you
talker.
imagine how many times they've told him, stop going on the radio and saying shit about our team?
Yeah,
But he hasn't listened once. He just keeps on doing it.
no chance, dude.
Antonio Brown and Jerry Jones, the worst group to be a part of. Like, that's your worst group therapy session ever.
Jay said, "Who's Andrew Luck? Did he play in the NFL?"
Yeah,
Good
briefly.
question. Ask Frank Reich.
Briefly.
All right, let's move on to our next superlative here. Most likely to be European.
Ah, yes, most likely to be European. Now, what was
Pretty
that
easy.
punter? There's the Scottish Hammer, right? Isn't that one of the punters in the league?
I already got my answer. It's Paris Campbell.
That's a good one.
Okay, then I got mine. Drake London.
Boo.
JL,
Hey,
can
guys,
you
I
come
can't
up with
think of one.
Can you come up with a third player?
Oh, I was gonna say Drake London's double, but Drake is from Canada. So not
Jeff
here.
Driscoll.
Because of that ass.
Because of that ass. Bump, bump, bump.
Just no explanation. Because of that ass, yo.
I'm gonna go with Carson Wentz. Dude strikes me as European.
Dude, he looks just like the Prince, right? Like
Right? He
that's
does.
why. Yeah, because you look with Prince Harry.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's a pretty good one. I like that.
That one's all right. Coop, did you run into any NFL players while you were in Europe? You did a whole European tour.
You know, I was looking for him. Problem was when I was in Iceland when my boy Evan Engram was scoring a touchdown in London. So we weren't exactly on the same page. And then I was in Bruges when the boys were in Germany. So yeah, didn't run into anybody while I was there. Had my eyes peeled, but no luck.
Dang.
No luck.
Dang.
Paris Campbell was a good one.
Dang.
Thank you. I thought
Here's
really hard
Cam,
about it.
right?
I also thought
That's
very
good.
hard about mine. I was going down other roads. I was trying to go the European route, like who's the most likely to be a peon right now. And then I was like, nah, there's nothing there. I don't know who would even be likely to take a peek.
Stretch.
Probably
Stretch.
everyone.
Everyone
Everyone
just about everyone.
All the hydrated players.
All right, let's get into our last superlative for the day. Best candidate for the CIA.
Ooh, now this one, there's a lot of moving parts. There's got to be like a skill set that would make them valuable in the CIA, and also like a layer of secrecy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it can't be the really loud players. Like, we can't have Odell Beckham Jr. as the CIA agent. We can't have Aaron Rodgers as the CIA agent.
I'm neglecting your rules and just going straight off vibes. And my answer is Mike Tomlin. Right? Like he's got the seriousness. He's got the glasses, dude. Like you can picture Mike Tomlin with the glasses, just no nonsense. I'm working. You know what I mean? Mike Tomlin. If I needed to actually hire somebody to be a CIA agent, it's Tomlin to get the job.
That's a good one. I was going a different route, but now you've made me start thinking of other guys in that vein.
You tried to come up with these rules, and I just dropped the vibe bomb on you. You don't have to go vibes, but I mean, Mike Tomlin got the vibes.
No, I think you're right there. Where I was leaning before you said that was a quarterback who's cool under pressure, gets thrown into a lot of situations where maybe the coaching staff isn't really taking care of him. So there's an unpredictability to it. And he's calm. I have seen this guy smile maybe like 3 times. Like he's got that face, just that game face on. Justin Herbert, I think, would be the CIA agent for me. He's got that demeanor, just like that cool and collected like demeanor. He could be unassuming, even though he's so tall. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he puts on like normal clothes. Like his demeanor can be kind of like under the radar, but he's a cool and collected leader. So I'm going to say Justin Herbert.
I like that one, Simon. I like that a lot.
Maybe that's why he cut his hair. because he actually did join the CIA, and they made him cut it.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
That's why I'm not in the CIA.
me neither.
Not yet.
Pat said JJ Watt. He'd be smiling too much.
JJ Watt's kind of a good answer for every single one.
Yeah, he is. He just fits everything. Jay said Trevor Lawrence. Be pretty easy to spot. He's like 6'3" with bright blonde hair.
Looks like a dude morphing into a horse. It was like the like the Animorph books where it's like there's 5 pictures. He's like the middle one. Right?
Stop it.
Dude morphing into a horse. The disrespect. I'm gonna go with, it's hard to follow that one up. I'm gonna go with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, I think, is a really good candidate for the CIA, because no way that dude is pretty big. He's pretty tall. I've talked to some people who have met him in person, and they said he's pretty large, which is definitely going against him, but he's very plain looking. Right. He's experienced.
He also has a bit of like a darkness surrounding him, kind of a dark backdrop.
And he's elite, so CIA, they need elite operatives.
I'm not convinced that his entire NFL career hasn't been an undercover CIA operation. Like, now that, as soon as you said that, I was like, because it doesn't make sense, everything he's done in the NFL. Like, I don't quite get his career. But if you tell me it was all staged, it was an undercover CIA operation, then it's starting to make some sense. I believe it.
If you think about it, dude, Bob Kraft giving rings to Vladimir Putin, and then who comes in to spoil a bunch of those plans? Joe Flacco coming into town, beating the Patriots at home during the playoffs. I don't know, dude. That might be an America versus Russia type of operation.
Joe Flacco,
led by Joe Flacco.
It hasn't been. If that has been the operation, it hasn't been that successful, considering Bob Kraft and Putin have won 7 rings. But still stopped a couple of them. Eli Manning, also CIA, apparently.
Eli Manning. Jade, you're saying Joe Flacco would be the rogue agent that just does what he wants, doesn't follow the rules, but gets the job done.
I don't play by anyone's rules, not even my own. Just having having a QBR of 30, but still throwing 50 times a game. That's Joe Flacco, not playing by anyone's rules.
57 passes. Joe Flacco, CIA operative. Keithan here had one for us. Said, could I say Jerry Jones? He's got that James Bond in him. He calls attention to himself, but it doesn't matter. He did a whole espionage mission to get Dan Snyder out.
Wow, that's pretty good one. I like that one.
Hiding in plain sight. Jerry Jones, CIA agent. Oh, man.
Instead of drinking like martinis shaken not stirred, his specialty is eating an egg McMuffin with way too much salt.
Incredibly, just mountains of salt.
I love it. The name's Jones, Jerry Jones.
Jones.
I love an egg McMuffin, triple the sodium.
Pat said, remember when Joe Flacco played hardball with the Ravens and it cost them $60 million? Yeah, brutal.
Hey, they're doing
it's an ultimate CIA heist. Another win for America.
Pretty good.
Suck it, Ravens. I like that it's America on one side, the Ravens on the other. And Joe Flacco, the hero to save us all.
The hero.
I like this game. Let's play this game again.
We will.
This is a
well
good
done,
one.
guys. We had some good ones. We'll probably tweet this out a little later here, but yeah, well done on the superlatives.
Yeehaw. Yeah, we should get some votes. Like, these are the finalists, and then people vote on which one is the winner. And then we can release our winners out there after that.
If I knew we were going to post these on social media, I might not have said that Creed Humphrey doesn't wash his hands. Because that dude could break me in half if he so chose to. Now I got to check and see where the Chiefs come to New England next.
Then we'll definitely tag him in it.
Tag Creed Humphrey. Yeah, this guy here. Yeah.
Whenever we were talking about all those Clemson guys, we were talking about Christian Wilkins and we talked about Bradley Chubb. It reminded me that yesterday I was just curious. I was like, what's Vic Beasley doing now? Like a Clemson guy, he got drafted to the Atlanta Falcons.
Disappeared.
I looked it up. He's in the XFL now. Vic Beasley signed to an XFL team out of the league, but playing in the XFL. That was one of the more disappointing plays. I thought for sure that dude was going to kill it in the league after what we watched him do at Clemson. And then
he did well in the league for a little while.
Yeah, he was good for a little bit.
Yeah,
he was good on the Falcons, and then it seemed like he just vanished. I don't know what happened.
Fell off the radar. Yeah, his first 2 seasons he was all right, right?
Yeah.
He's good.
All right. He had 15 sacks. He had 15 and a half
he's
sacks.
really good.
And he's out of the league now.
All pro. Yeah,
That's a bummer. I do like Vic Beasley.
Maybe he could fight his way back, man. We've seen it.
Yeah, we saw it. Peach.
He could be our generation's PJ Walker.
Justin said Coop not worried about half man, half horse T-Law coming at him.
Yeah, that's true. I was actually quite mean. I was quite mean during this segment. Thank God Tavon Austin can't read, so he won't see it.
Except
he won't find it.
We'll just send him the video clip, Coop.
We should get a Coop a copy of a playbook and see if he can read it.
I guarantee you. I'll do the Wonderlic if you want, dude. I guarantee.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Maybe we get Coop taking the Wonderlic. We should all take.
I've taken one before, and the second question was like, which of these isn't like the others? And it was like a triangle, a square, a rectangle, and a circle. Like we're talking like you gotta have something going on to not be able to.
Wait, I don't actually know the answer to that.
I would say
you just named 3 shapes.
4
circle,
shapes.
bro. It's a circle. See, that's the problem. That's the problem that you run into if you're Tavon Austin.
Circle has no edges. That's the
The
difference.
one that doesn't have
right
edges.
there.
When you can see them on the paper, JL.
They're all
Also,
shapes.
Tommy wants to know, why is it called Wonderlic? I think Steve Belichick named it, if I'm not mistaken. Right? After the test is over, in order to seal the envelope, you have to Wonderlic it. And then you seal the envelope with your exam in it and send it off for them to grade.
Ugh.
Or if you lick the test, you automatically get a 7. That might be the other answer right there.
Minimum, dude. So
Is that still how people send mail?
Frank Gore just licked his test, and that's it. Same with Tavon Austin.
Lick, and then you get that score. 7. Tommy said very disturbing. I don't know. I am curious what I would get on the Wonderlic. I don't think it would be good. Do people study for that test, or is that just something you get in there?
Do you guys know how it works? The test?
Nope.
So it's
I know somebody that worked for them.
The way it works is you have to answer the questions in order. You can't move on to the next one before you answer. So there have been instances where people have certain mental blocks or issues where that explains some of these bad tests. So it's not. It is kind of funny to make fun of low scores, but you can't for everybody because sometimes people get hung up. But it's a timed test. So most people don't even make it to the end. That's why it's so hard to get a score like Ryan Fitzpatrick, where he got like a 48, because you have to not only answer the questions correctly, you have to do it in order, and you have to do it within the time limit. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, to get a 48, basically he got one question wrong on the entire test. I think there's only one person that got a perfect 50. There's a punter at some point that got a perfect score, but Ryan Fitzpatrick went to Harvard, so that makes sense that he would have a high score. Nerd alert.
Shout out Ryan Fitzpatrick. Yeah, did you guys know he went to Harvard?
I love that he went to Harvard, but he also was just a complete gunslinger chucking it. You would think he'd be a little smarter with football.
No, that's that Harvard smarts right there. Everybody who came in and hung out with us today, I want to thank you so much for spending your morning here on Better Sports Network with us, Front Yard Fantasy. We will be back tomorrow and every weekday, Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time, doing more of this, talking football, getting you guys ready for your playoff matchups, and a little bit of other stuff thrown in there as well. Coming up right after this, you've got Moose and Keith, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru, and then Corey Nando and friends a little bit later today as well. Until tomorrow morning, though, we are out of here. Thank you guys so much again for joining us. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.